I know that you. I know, Lou. I know you love playing golf. I know you love golf. But here's the thing, man. You're not recruiting at Kentucky anymore. I mean, it's Central Michigan shit. I mean, dude. I don't even know where that school is. These kids don't. Hey, I gotta go, man. Peace. Say what? Yeah. Hey guys, what up? It's your guy JG. I'm giving you a fist bump. Boom, 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 boom. Welcome to another edition of The Brain Drain. My name is JG. You may know me as the Commodore or the publisher at auburnsports.com. And we are doing a rare, very rare, Friday night show. We are doing that because I have some things going on tomorrow night that I've got to do, that I really want to do and I got to do. When those two things are true about the same event, you know you should be going. So I gave the Swoogans at auburnsports.com an opportunity to pick the time that we did the show today. It was either Friday night, which we are doing, or it was Saturday early from 4 to 7. And it was about, 3 or 4 to 1. People wanted to go on Friday night, so here we are. Thank you for being part of the show. You know, we love doing the shows, and we love having you guys hang out. And as Auburn alum was saying in the chat moments ago, if you guys can see that on the YouTubes, we'll soon have it on the page here in a minute. There's so much to discuss. So much. Wow. Whew. I mean, Sunisa Lee winning a gold medal for the Auburn Tigers. SEC expanding to 16. Sharif and JT going in the second round of the NBA draft, which I'm shocking that there were enough people on the bunker. Like, everybody, there's always one bad take, no matter what it is. Maybe two. I feel like there were a lot of people that were cheering against Sharif getting drafted last night, and it disgusted me. And one of the guys doing it, well, actually a couple of them I really like, and I don't understand what they were doing. I jumped in there and chastised them a little bit, but hey, man, I mean, you know, people have their opinions, and even if they're wrong, you know, you just kind of let them go. I had to eat a little something right before I got on the air, and so I'm a little verklempt. Hey, anyway, we got a lot of legends already in the chat, including Mark C., who's jumping in here. Hey, you Taxman, Auburn alum. Pocket Watch has already super chatted. Chip has super chatted as well, and we've got something to show. Chip's been doing a little side project for the last, well, it didn't take him this long, but we've been talking about it for probably a couple months, 3 months maybe, and he's got some special Brain Drain swag. I'm going to show it to you here in just a moment. In fact, I've got it one right here. He's done some etched bourbon glasses. They look something like this. And they say the Brain Drain on it. And this one, as you can see, says Commodore. Because that's what I am. And it also has the Auburn Sports logo there on the bottom. Pretty rad. Chip's the absolute legend. Did this like on his own dime, which if we continue to do this, it will not be on his own dime. But we appreciate him doing that. He just did it out of the goodness of his heart, kind of learned this new skill. And had a chance to meet him again at Voodoo on Tuesday. He dropped this off. On his way back, met him and his lovely wife and at least one of his girls. I didn't get the full story on that one, but it's cool, you know. They went to the concert in Atlanta to see Green Day, Weezer, and I believe Fall Out Boy was there. So what we're going to do is, I want to show you guys this. So he was really cool and made this one for me that says Commodore, but for you guys, he made some different glasses. I mean, they're the same, but they look a little bit different, and I wanted to show one because he's a very big fan of the swoogan concept of like somebody being a swoog, you know, which is something that the Alpha Tiger brought to the show. And I'm telling you, the guy went the distance here. He made 13 glasses, I believe, and each one of them has a certificate of authenticity that he has personally written out a message on every single one of them. It's unbelievable. So, as I mentioned, mine says Commodore. This one, however, says Swoogan on it. The other one says Swoogan, and this is glass number 1. It says 001. I know it looks like 100, but anyway. And there's a special little something in this glass. There's a $1 coin, Susan B. Anthony, because this one goes to Alpha Tiger. Alpha Tiger is going to be our winner of the first ever glass because he is the reason that it's called Swoogans on here, and Chip Chip really wanted it to be that way. So let's give it up for Alpha Tiger for being the wind beneath his wings. I'm going to keep that certificate of authenticity right there. I'm not going to tell you what it says. When we send it to you, Alpha, then you'll be able to figure out then. So if you don't mind, bro, send me a DM on the site. I'm talking to Alpha, and I will get that shipped to you soon, and we'll do it. Chip Chip in the chat saying, got to give the Van Weezer album a chance. Chip Chip's a big time Weezer fan, and I'm not. I like Weezer, but I'm not a huge fan. I just haven't been able to get into their last few, 10 albums. But I mean, I still like them. I would go to their. Actually, my wife was like, "What? They were there," and we would have gone to that concert had we known about it. All right. I had some super chats came through here. Let's just go to our main screen here. Well, hold on. Firstly, I'm a little bit scatterbrained tonight, aren't I? We are doing bourbon tonight, of course, since my main man, Chip Chip, hooked me up with this delicious, well, it isn't delicious, but it's going to soon house some delicious bourbon. Tonight's bourbon is going to be Blue Note Small Batch. I have warned my bourbon boys, my bourbon bros on the site, that there is a problem with this bourbon, and it's a good problem to have. They've run out of juice. They have run out of their 9-year juice. And so whatever's out there, I know in the state of Alabama, whatever's out there is what's out there, and there ain't going to be any more. Now, in a general sense, I do not like Tennessee whiskey. I feel like it's inauthentic because I think Kentucky is where it's at. And this is from Tennessee. This is made in Memphis. And the rumor on the street is that it's largely, or at least it's blended with stuff from Dickel, which is also from Tennessee, which is fine. I mean, as long as you're going to be in Tennessee, you might as well just stick with it. But I think this is delicious bourbon. It's not like you would choose this over CYPB or, Pappy 23 or anything like that. But for what it is, I think it's absolutely delicious. And I currently have, this is one of 3 bottles I had, unopened bottles, and then I also have a 12-year, I think, that I haven't opened either. So I stocked up when I heard about this. And, of course, the adage on the bunker is there's always one. We have someone on the bunker who deals with Blue Note, who helps with Blue Note, who's intimately familiar with what's going on at Blue Note. So he gave me a heads up that I better smoke him if I got him. So there you go, a little bit of scoop. Let's see. A.U. Taxman, of course, knows this well. He knows more about bourbon than I do, which is saying something because I know a pretty good amount, although I certainly have learned that there's people in the bunker that know a lot more than I do. He says the aged Dickel stuff is awesome. That 15-year is amazing, especially for 60. You're probably talking about that little squatter bottle, right, that the Dickel sells? I have not had that, but I bet it would be delicious. WFXX, my main man, says, it's a great song, but average whiskey. Corny says, love you, Jay. My man. Coming in from Las Vegas, presumably. At least we can say Nevada. Could be Henderson. Who knows? AU Law says he's got some of that. It's not too shabby. Again, I'm not saying this is the stuff where, like, when your homies come over from high school and you go, guys, I've got some Blue Notes. I mean, it's not that one. But it's like on a Tuesday and you don't want to drink something that's like super, like that Evan Williams that you would normally drink on a Tuesday. Blue Note's where it's at. This runs, I saw this at the gas station there in Auburn where I buy the liquor. You guys know the one I'm talking about downtown. This is on the rack for $56. I bought this one for $60, I think. Sometimes you'll see it as high as $70. But I like it a lot. So that's what I'm drinking tonight. The Blue Note Small Batch. It's a 9-year. I always call it the 9-year. I don't call it small batch, but whatever. We just do what we do. We have some super chats we got to catch up with because you guys are absolute studs. Chip jumped in earlier, right away before we even were on the air. Says, welcome to UTX. Texas and Oklahoma. Just kidding. GFY. Let's give him a where'd it go? I have so many sounds now. Actually, I put a new sound in the other day that made me laugh from my FIFA streaming that I watch. but it had a bad word in it, so I got to be careful. Oh, there it is. That's what we got for Texas and Oklahoma. The newcomers to the SEC. Also, Pocket Watch jumping in. Pocket Watch, of course, one of the absolute studs. Always with us here. Oh, yeah, on the Brain Drain. And also is a watcher and viewer with some of the other streams around the network as well. So we appreciate you, bro. Let's see. I know there's more. Cleveland Brown. What a legend. Says you rock, JG. No, you rock, bro. I'm going to give you a party noise maker for that one. Thank you very much for that, Cleveland Brown. Always here with us, Cleveland is. And Mark C., who I think I know who this is, but some folks, because of the way it works, they use their real name and stuff, and sometimes I forget which handle it's associated with. But Mark, appreciate you. Thanks for being part of the show. You jumped in real early, too. C-Dub jumps in with a smiling face with sunglasses, which doesn't translate well to what we're doing here at eCam. That's the thing I use to put the show up, but I appreciate the sticker there, brother. And also, Mayor Mix-a-Lot, the Brain Drain Bourbon Fund. Ah, yes. To you, Mayor Mix-a-Lot. Also, I mentioned I guess we call it the Inner Circle. I have a little DM going with several members who are always on the drain. People like Pocket Watch, Canoe Man, AU Tax Man. You know what I'm talking about. And I posted earlier that we needed to change the, it's over here, isn't it, according to your screen, where it says the drain right now. It's like the iconic Auburn University right there in front of Sanford that everybody takes pictures in front of when they graduate or when they arrive at Auburn. And in that space, we'd had for the whole time we've done the show, the the big vision with Jay Jacobs. And I think we had all just kind of gotten maybe a little fatigued with Jay, just seeing him every single day because maybe some of us aren't his hugest fans, right? So I decided to change it. And I've been thinking about some things that we could do with it, but this one made the most sense, I thought. And, when somebody calls or when we have someone on the air, which we will do tonight, we didn't do it the other night, we'll just put the name right there. Just a little something there. Auburn alumni says, Suni says, all your NI deals belong to us. She's about to get rich. That's the beautiful thing, man. She came at the right month, right? Yeah, perfect. I'm so glad she's going to be able to cash in and continue to compete at Auburn because our parents were like, you are going to college, period. And she's been committed to Auburn since 2017. I mean, she's going to Auburn. She's already enrolled. The OA News reported that the other day. So, yeah, that's going to be huge. I mean, she's going to be the biggest star. Yeah, I think she's going to be the biggest star that ever attend Auburn. I mean, Cam Newton is a bigger star for maybe a lot of us just because, he's a mythical figure in the football world, won the Heisman, led Auburn to a natty. But I'm saying internationally, there's people in Thailand who have no idea who Cam Newton is. People in Europe may have no idea who he is, but they know who she is. Worldwide appeal on that end. That's pretty damn cool. I'm pretty fired up about seeing some of that. I haven't been to much gymnastics, but Alan Green was saying the other day that obviously, I know you're not going to be surprised to hear this, that tickets are selling fast for the gymnastics meets next year already. So Joshua G says her and Tank would make beautiful athletic babies. We'll see if we can get those together. Girl from Minneapolis, St. Paul, and guy from LaGrange. We'll see. Cleve C in the house, one of our absolute all-time superstars. What up, Cleve? Representing Middle Georgia for us. Carrying that Auburn flag in Middle Georgia. We'd love to see it. We'd love to see it. Auburn. That's a great name there. I mean, how can you be more than Auburn? You can just be Auburn. So how do you think Bo Nix will do this season? We're going to talk about that. I've got a list that I made myself of players on the hot seat. Hot. And I don't mean they're in trouble, they're in danger of getting fired. I meant these are players where there's pressure on them Some of it because, for various reasons, there's a lot of pressure on a handful of players at Auburn, and we're going to talk about them tonight. I also have talked to two people inside the complex today and got a list of players that each person thought had really pushed extra hard in the summertime, guys that were summer stars, so to speak. And I kind of whittled it down to the guys that both people talked about. And so I made a list of those two, and we'll kind of break that down in a little bit. Also, summer basketball practice concluded this morning. They were going at it in the Auburn Arena. BMAT was over there. I did not make it for that one, but BMAT put a report up on the bunker and explained I think they went at a scrimmage, 3 games, and I was glad to hear that. So we went through and talked about the 3 players that we were most impressed with during the summer session, and we'll go through that also a little bit later in the show. WFXX has got to get back to radio station stuff. Have a great night, everyone. War Eagle. War Eagle to you, bro. I suspect I know exactly who that is. He's an absolute stud. Kyle S. says, Suni, Tank, and Jabari, the new big 3. You're not lying there. 3 outstanding athletes right there. Stephen Dubb says, White Castle fries only come in one size. I feel like that's a lyric, but it's also true. As someone who has eaten at White Castle many, many times in my life. Robert M. agreed with me, I think, on Suni saying most accomplished athlete as she steps onto campus. Yeah, no doubt there. I guess the only argument would be, while they're on campus, I still think, the international appeal that she brings is going to be bigger than anything, even like what Bo did have international appeal. Not at the time he was here, though. I mean, he was still an awesome stud, and he won the Heisman, but you know what I mean. Let's see, Big Sipper 74. I like that name. I hope that's what you're doing tonight. It says, War Eagle from Wetumpka. I was up there a couple weeks ago, yo. Enjoy that town. I do. Question, does open bourbon have a shelf life? Great question. I hope not. I inherited a bottle of, unfortunately, it was Jack Daniels, which is Tennessee Swill. But I inherited that from my granddad. And it's in a decanter. Like, this is back in the early 80s when they would sell you a decanter, instead of charging you $100 for it. And they would include it with the price. And so I did some sleuthing on the internet and discovered that it was an 83 or 84 bottle. And I have it downstairs, and I sip on it from time to time, so I hope there isn't. I can't say that it's the best bourbon I have or anything, but it was Jack Daniels, so I wasn't expecting anything. I think you're okay as long as you keep the cap on it, treat it good, as I'm sure that you would. I'm sure you guys would handle your bourbon very gently. High bourbon. High blue note. You sure look delicious tonight. You seem oblong and wet on the inside. Better put that down before I get myself into trouble. Auburn alumni asks, isn't she the first ever gold medalist to attend and compete on a college team after winning it? Ooh, that's a great question. I'm not sure. We might have to get my main man Christian on that one. I don't know. Anthony R. says, War Eagle from Lynette. Lynette's going to be a hot place to be on Sunday. That's when Caden Story, the defensive end from Lynette, is going to make his decision known. He's choosing between Auburn and the hated Golden Knights of Central Florida. We didn't hate them until recently, although we probably really don't but, that's where Gus is now. I mean, it's pretty nice down here. We got a pretty good team. I like the culture. You like the culture. You like the culture, Gus. Oh, okay. I wonder who's in charge of the culture at Auburn. No, I don't know. It's kind of, it's a lot of people did that. Okay. Got you, bro. All right. Word. We'll start off with the Feeling the Heat thing. Some of you Hibatten folks will remember Feeling the Heat. I'm using it. I'm repurposing it, the whole concept, for something else this time. These are players, and I'm going to talk about this as we go along. These are players that I think are on the hot seat. Don't think of it as like a coaching thing. Just like players that I think are in a pinch right now. They need to perform, and for various reasons. We'll start off with Bo Nix for obvious reasons. We've talked about this a million times. I thought he had a fine freshman year. I thought his sophomore year was about the same. I didn't see him a lot of progress. We've spent a lot of time on this show discussing why there was no progress. A lot of people said it was because of Gustav. A lot of people said it was because of Bo himself. A lot of people said it was just kind of this negative aura around the ball club, and really nobody was getting much better last year. There's a lot of theories, and they're probably all got some truth to them. But there's a lot of pressure on Bo Nix to be good this year, and we will see if a completely new regime with a much different kind of psychological setup, we'll see how he responds to that. I myself do not consider him to be a soft or meek person. So the problems that he had last year to me are not like mental blocks or anything like that. I think he was just working for a guy, let's put this nicely, maybe didn't have full control of college defenses. Second one, Shedrick Jackson. He's going to be the old man, right? Shedrick is now the wise old veteran on the Auburn staff. And when he was playing earlier in his career, Cody was using him mostly as a blocker. And they need him to be more than that. He always played with a lot of effort. But I think he's got to play with effort and toughness. And, well, he was tough, plenty tough. But he's got to be a receiver who catches the ball and who helps them get the ball down the field, which he really wasn't doing much of last year. He'd been injured. He missed spring. So I think there's a lot of pressure on him to come in there in that room with the wide receivers, be a leader, and be somebody on the field. He doesn't have to be the top, statistical guy, but he's got to be a factor, and he's got to stand up and be counted. He's got to be a major factor in that locker room. So I think there's a lot of pressure on him. Roger McCreary, different situation with Roger. He's been a terrific player, and I thought he was really, really good last year. Another diamond in the rough, I guess you could say. Auburn basically stole him from South Alabama, and Troy were kind of fussing over him. He's obviously a very good player. He's going to play in the NFL, barring some crazy injury or situation like that. So the pressure here is people are going to be picking on him this year because he's got the name now. He's got the cachet. The wide receivers who want to be great, who want to get in the NFL and make millions of dollars, who look at every SEC game as a personal challenge, are going to want to be lined up against Roger McCreary, and they're going to want to defame him. I think it's going to be a different situation for him. I do think that he's going to be able to rise to the challenge, but it's going to take some serious effort on his part to get there, and I think he will. Again, feeling the heat, it's not all the same. There's some negativity with Bo Nix, right? I don't sense that at all with McCreary, but I still think his task is going to be very difficult this year. Dre Butler, junior college transfer, didn't do much last year. He had kind of a bad bout with COVID, and it set him back throughout the summer, and he just never really got caught up. He was a little heavy. He was a little unfit, and they were hoping that he would be able to give them 20 snaps a game, as a nose, and he couldn't do it. It kind of fell to Marquise Burks, and he couldn't really do it either. So I think there's pressure on Dre to step up and be somebody that can help. And I think the time is now. Tony Fair is a graduate transfer coming in from UAB, and his challenge is this. They want him to be a nose, to be a zero-tech guy. He's a little big, okay? I spent some time with him in June, and he was a little heavier than I thought that he would be. Okay, he was a lot heavier than I thought he would be. He was probably in the 340 range, and he acknowledged that he was heavier than he should be and that he was going to lose the weight. I haven't seen him lately. He would need to lose 30 pounds to get to where he probably, Nick Fairley played at 310. Tony is a little shorter than Nick, I think, so maybe, I don't know. He's got some work to do. And I think there's a lot of people, maybe a lot of you guys in the chat that are like, I'm expecting Tony Fair, who was great at UAB last year, to come in here and be a factor. And I'm just not sure in the state that I saw him in June that he could do that. So I think there's pressure on him. Tyrone Truesdale, a similar situation there insofar as I think people are expecting Tyrone to be one of the tackles and absolutely ball out there. I think we all kind of are expecting someone to be the next Derek Brown. I don't think Tyrone's got that ability, but you're expecting someone to, to give you 60 snaps a game and to absolutely wear people's asses out. Rodney kept thinking that he'd be able to flip that switch and get Tyrone to really take it seriously and become that guy. I don't think that he's been that guy yet. I'm expecting him to do something this year. This is his last shot. He's got to be a major contributor this year. And to me, like Montravius Adams from a few years ago, that's got to be the base. Got to at least be that good. Does he have something better in the tank? I don't know. A lot of pressure on him. Austin Troxell, his is largely due to injury. He's had, I think, 3 reconstructions, I should say. Probably just one construction, but we can talk to God about that. Reconstructions, 1 in high school, 2 at Auburn. We had big expectations for the big guy out of Huntsville. They need tackles. We know they need tackles. This has got to be the year that he does something. So, a lot of pressure there. And then TD. TD was a major recruit when he came in. He really hasn't done much. We've been hearing a lot that he's soft. I've heard that he lets off-the-field distractions completely wear himself down and loses that fighting edge. And I think that's true. I think that's been going on. But I am encouraged by the things that have been going on with TD in his personal life the last 6 months, maybe the last 8 months. And I happen to think that he's in a completely different headspace now. And I am hopeful that we're going to see the real TD unlocked this year. And he's playing a position that I think matches him better. I don't think he's a hand-in-the-dirt kind of defensive end. I think he's a linebacker. He's an outside linebacker, kind of like Marcus Washington was. I know I'm going back a few years on that. One's probably, 99 or 2000, but similar build and similar kind of skills. So let's see if TD can do something this year. I know the athleticism is there. And I know the kid has his heart's in the right place. I know that. I just think he's in gear now, and I'm very interested to see what he does. I think everybody would love to see TD do something. AU Taxman says, Moultrie, I just don't see it. I understand that. You've been hearing about Moultrie for 4 years, and you really haven't seen much at all, so I understand. Somebody's got to step up, man. And I think we're going to end up putting the Superman cape on J.J. Pegues, but I don't see it, man. I mean, I could see it next year. But to be an H-back last year, and now he's going to switch to defensive line in one spring and then a summer, and he's going to come in there and whoop ass. Like, I know he's going to beat people up, but Derek Brown would beat people up his freshman year. He just didn't have the technique down, and it takes time, man. When you're playing inside like that, the closer you are to the ball, the harder it is to just get shit done and make a difference. That's why I'm always giving Reese Dismuke so much praise, because he came in as a true freshman and played at center effectively. He wasn't awesome his freshman year, but he was effective. He's good enough. And that's hard to do, interior, close to the ball like that. Paramount says, Jay just said Rodney and TD didn't work. I think that's fair to say. Powerman also mentioned, Powerman, of course, one of our friends from Birmingham, seems surprised that there's people who think that Tony Fair would go from UAB and actually ball out in the SEC, because that's such a huge jump up in competition. But, I mean, yeah, there's people who think that. I think this could be a good year, no joke. I don't know, I'm probably more like Josh G here, who says solid year. It's probably more likely, but I don't think this team's bad at all. I think it's just a matter of, I know Tank's a badass, and I know he's going to run the football effectively. They know who the bell cow is, and they're going to ride him. I know that. And I happen to think Bo's going to be fine. I'm not a big Bo hate guy. I know our friends Mike G over at the War Report has been kind of tough on Bo. And some of the other guys over there are too, and they're certainly not alone. But I think Bo's going to be fine. They're going to be able to unlock a little something with him. I still think he's a really good player. He didn't play well last year, and he didn't show it last year, but I think it's in there. Auburn alumni asks, if he wasn't injured, which he is unfortunately, tore an ACL, do you think Jeremiah Wright would be the starting nose? Great question. Yes, I do. I think he was really coming along, man. Now, the bad news is that I don't think he would have been top half of the SEC at this point, but I think he would have been the guy. At this point, now I think it's going to be Truesdale, even though I don't love him at nose. I think in a perfect world, Tony Fair would be a lot thinner and be ready to go. What's up? Administrative assistant in the house. I was able to get half that. That was good. How's your hair? She got her hair did. Very exciting. No pics. Huh? No. I got what I got. All right, guys. So I think in a perfect world, Tony Fair would be the guy, but I'm skeptical. You know, I don't know. It would take a lot. AU Pooch has jumped in the chat. We know this because he's told us. AU Taxman says O-line will be pedestrian, which means Bo will be pedestrian. Yeah, I think that's a fair formula. And I don't think the offensive line is going to be awesome. But I think that Will Friend can make it adequate. That's the best you can hope for. Let's see. Josh G says outside publications are bullish on the AU offensive line. I know that. I saw that Nick Brahms was first team All SEC or second team All SEC. I think it's. I mean, I've voted on those teams a bunch of times, and I think you just kind of look around and say, oh, who's some dudes that are experienced, and that's who you put on there, and he certainly is experienced. Robert M. says, good to see your boy Yox back at summer workouts. Yeah, I really wish I'd been able to get over there and talk to him. I saw Yox. They had like a reunion maybe 2 or 3 years ago and got to see some of my all-time favorites, yo. I got to see Pat Lee, Timmy Duckworth, Ben Grubbs, Yox, who's an absolute legend. Actually, I was playing Warzone with Peely the other day. It's probably been a week now. Love Peely. What a fun guy, man. And we were able to kind of remember how we used to play with Sin and Quentin Groves. We used to play Warzone. Well, it wasn't Warzone then. It was Call of Duty. But anyway, yes, I love Yox. Yox is the reason that I'm not 315 pounds anymore. He's the only reason, really. I mean, he's the one that said, you can do this, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you some basic plans on how you can do it. You got to do the work, but I will explain to you how you can do it, and I'll make the math work if you'll do the work. I said, shit, okay. And he did it, and I did it, and we lost, well, I look at it as I lost 100 pounds and haven't ever gotten back up there ever since. I have gotten as high as about 235, but it's a lot lower than 315. That's for damn sure. I love Yox. That was good stuff. Just in a general sense, to see them doing the stairs at Jordan Hare and having some of the old guys come back. And I know Ra was over there, Ra White, Sammy Coates, Goggins was over there. I reckon Ben Leard was. I saw Ben at Jordan Hare on Sunday. I like to make fun of him for his truck because his truck's like absolutely huge. I mean, it's really nice. It's rad. But you know what I always say about guys with big trucks. AU Pooch jumps in, who has already announced that he's here on the show, but now he's super chatted as well, solidifying his legendary status. So shout out to the unvaccinated and JG as I sip Woodford Reserve, I guess. Shout out to DM8, Stump Fan, and 00 Obby. Stephen L says, JG, my boy, listen to the drain while cooking in the restaurant. My man, what's up, man? You need to let me know where you're cooking because I want to go there and eat it. Well, I mean the food. Auburn alumni. Well, sorry, I got one down the wrong pipe there. It says Rodney Creighton was there. I thought it was Rodney. A lot of times if I haven't seen guys in 10 or 15 years, I don't recognize them. I don't know why. I'm not great at that stuff. Richard Dubb with a nice welcome home to the group. Just made it in the chat. What's up, the turd burglars? What's poppin'? Hey, bud. Glad to have you here. So I watched some streamers. This is completely off the record. Well, I don't mean off the record. We're just going off the rails. You know how the brain drain goes. I'm a FIFA player. I like to play FIFA. We'll get back to these questions. Big Sipper has a good question here, too, about Will Friend. There's a streamer named Nick T28, and he just loses his shit all the time. Like, he just yells at the game constantly. I myself have been known to yell a little bit. Stefan says he works at Aubrey's in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Chattanooga, of course, known as the home of Lookout Mountain. Also has a great downtown area, revitalized in the 90s, back when people weren't doing much of that. And also has great internet service that the city, like a municipal internet service, which I'm told is better than pretty much anything that working class stiffs such as myself can get at home. I will keep that in mind, sir. I'd love to go there. Anyway, Nick T28, he loses his shit all the time, and so I was watching one of his streams, and I just made one of the things he said a soundbite, and I thought this would be perfect for, like, if we're doing this later in the season and it's a game and shit's not going well, as you could probably expect is going to happen sometimes, and we could just hit this one right here. I'm warning you, though. He says a bad word, okay? But it just makes me laugh to hear him say it. Are you ready?
What in the fuck is this game?
You know when LSU scores the third touchdown in the second quarter and you're like, what are we doing? What's happening? We'll always have to go back to. I know, some of you guys, it was kind of a bad word there.
Yeah, on Monday, I won't make it on Monday because I had someone calls on Monday.
Steven says, Gig City Baby. Had a question earlier from Big Sipper, which I hope you're sipping out there, bro. It says, do you have any info on the new OL coach Friend? Is he a good recruiter or a developer of talent? To me, if you were going to pick one or the other, I would say he's more of a developer of talent than a recruiter. Although he's been a good recruiter. I think that you could argue he was doing better as he moved along. I thought the recruiting that he did at Georgia was solid. Thought the recruiting that he did at Tennessee was pretty good. But, we'll just have to see how it goes here. Everything's weird right now at Auburn. I think they're still kind of like trying to get the car into gear, so to speak. I don't think it's going to be a flop long term recruiting, but right now it's just kind of gotten off to a slow start. But Big Cat was better than I thought it would be. They had some good players there, and they're probably going to get Caden Story on Sunday. They got Damari Alston the other day, the tailback from Woodward Academy out of Atlanta. He's pretty good. Real good. So, I mean, they're making some progress. Grindworks in the house. How you doing, JGT? I'm better now that you're here, bro. Appreciate you, Grindworks. Hayden H in the house. What's up, JG? What's up is you're up, buddy. Appreciate you being here. Let's see. Keeping them eligible. Says, what are your thoughts on Texas and Oklahoma actually joining in 2025? What are the chances that's pulled up? I just kept getting told that 2023 was a real thing. And as it stands right now, it looks like it's going to be 2025. So we're going to have to wait for 4 years and get that done. Thank you, Call Me Biscuit. Says, I may have missed a super chat. I sure did. My goodness. Unbelievable. I got so carried away with Pooch. Ryan S. jumps in. Friend will be making chicken salad out of chicken. Thank you, Ryan. You're an absolute legend. And also, thank you, Biscuit, for looking that up for me. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, we're talking about Will Friend. So, to me, he's a better coach than recruiter. Not to say he's a bad recruiter. I think he's a solid recruiter. And he works well with Bobo. He and Bobo are buddies. And they both kind of have like this country boy thing going, And they're almost kind of like a comedy team. Because both of them are just like very talkative and like tell stories and just kind of, they're the kind of guys that you'd like to go to the Floribama with and drink some bourbon. You know what I mean? Like they're just those kind of guys. So I think together they're going to do a lot of damage on the recruiting trail, I think, in time. And I think Bobo's really good recruiter. And I think he's also sharp when it comes to quarterback evaluations, which is something Auburn hasn't been sharp at lately. Although you can say, hey, JG, I don't know if you know who Malik Willis is, but he seems pretty good. Wasn't he at Auburn? Yeah. Yeah, he was. Speaking of that, what about the NBA draft last night? Surprised I was to see Sharif drop as far as he went. I was not surprised on JT. I just feel like he's really raw. I don't feel like Sharif's really raw, except for that shot. It's kind of broken, right? But it was weird to see so many dudes with Auburn ties coming in way early. I mean, Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga, both went in the top, 10? I mean, Jalen was number 2. Kuminga was like 6, 7, 8. And then Davion, who's an absolute legend, transferred from Auburn to Baylor, won a natty. He went, I don't remember, he's top 15 for sure. A lot of dudes with Auburn ties. I mean, BP and the staff, they know what they're doing. They know who the good players are, and they get involved with them. Speaking of that, there's some chatter going around. Trey Donaldson might be ready to commit. Trey Donaldson is he's a two-sport player, really. He's a safety. I think we have him as a 4-star because he plays safety more than he does basketball, but he's also a point guard. And BP is very intrigued with this kid. Like, they really like him. I saw him actually at a practice maybe 3 weeks ago. He kind of was just watching practice, up for a visit. And I didn't have a chance to talk to him, but the fact that he was there just tells me that they're really serious about him. He said there's going to be an announcement coming. Jay Lee was thinking that it's going to be a commitment later in the month or in October. Later in August, excuse me. That's what he was thinking is going to happen, but that's definitely one to look out for. I know some of you basketball heads are going to be like, wait, man, a 3-star basketball recruit? What is this, Tony Barbie? It's just a little misleading just because he's been doing a lot of football, and I don't think people have had a chance to see him fully as a basketball player. But when BP tells you he wants the kid, you know what that means. Super chat coming in from Bryce G. My main man. So what up, JG? Glad we're draining on a regular basis again. We are going to be. It's going to be going on for months now. Love seeing Harson. The Wolf running stadiums. Gus's man boobs would never. No, they wouldn't. They would not.
You could drop a tarantula into his shorts and he'll still be cool.
Yeah, Harson is he's a very fit person for his age, no doubt about that. And I thought it was cool the way they turned that into kind of a thing, like a social media hype thing. And to bring back all the players, I thought was really, really badass. Appreciate you, Bryce. Thanks for being here, brother. Look at that. Valley Tiger says, great to have the drain back as a regular event again. The season is near. Josh G says Rob Chubb was a 3-star. Old Rob Chubb. It's been a while, huh? What else can we do? All right, let's talk a little bit about these players on the pushing ahead thing. Y'all ready for that? Yeah, of course you are. All right, so these are I told you earlier, I talked to 2 people inside the complex, and I said, tell me some dudes who have been balling out in the summer. Guys that they deserve some praise for what they've been doing. So these are the names that both dudes mentioned. Well, one dude didn't mention the quarterbacks, but the other guy did, and I think it's because he's a defensive guy, wasn't paying as much attention maybe. So besides that, it was both. J.J. Pegues apparently is, to nobody's surprise, has been absolutely super spirited and doing what he's got to do to get his body set up to be a defensive lineman, specifically an interior guy. So it sounds to me like he would probably be your MVP, him or Donovan Kaufman. Donovan Kaufman, of course, is the transfer from Vanderbilt. He'll surprise you a little bit when you look at him because when I met him, he's a little shorter than I thought he would be. I mean, he's listed at 5'10". I guess that's fair. He's one of Derek Mason's favorite players. I mean, at Vandy, he came over from Vandy with Mason, and he's just got that. Like Kaufman's got that fanatical thing about working out and like exercising and staying fit, like the way that D Ford did. I don't know if you guys remember. D Ford was like, to me, he's like the star standard of like, how dedicated can a kid be to being fit and strong? Like D Ford is the number one all time. But Donovan Kaufman's in that range too. So those 2 guys I think have been I think if you voted right now among coaches, which you would never actually get a vote on him, but if they did, I think it'd be split between J.J. Pegues and Donovan Kaufman. Pegues more he's been busting his ass, but more about his spirit. And Donovan Kaufman, I think he's going to have an effect on the football program similar to what my main man from Connecticut, name escapes me. Come on, Auburn alumni, help me. Shooting guard, Mustafa Heron. Mustafa Heron showed up at Auburn basketball, and he had a professional mentality about everything he did, whether it was eating, like deciding what to eat, exercising, pre-practice stretching. Everything about Mustafa Heron was a professional dude. He'd been groomed his whole life to be a professional basketball player, okay? And he was an amateur at the time, but you know what I mean. And that attention to detail that he brought absolutely changed the course of this program because Jared got it, Bryce got it, Anthony got it, Horace got it, and they all kind of got infected. Sorry to use that term. I know it's kind of weird these days. With that attitude, and it helped them become something greater than they were going to be. I think Donovan Kaufman has that kind of ability. He just gives a shit so much, and he's such a fighter. I think he has that potential to just really infect a lot of players with that attitude of, you need to be awesome hour by hour of every single day. And I think he can have a very positive effect on this program right away. Again, you'll be shocked to see how big he is because he ain't big. But he is rangy, he hits hard, and you can't find a guy more fit than him. So I'll be interested to see how much he plays. My guess is he's going to play a lot. Derek Hall's been busting his butt. Defensive end, he could be a linebacker too if needed, and flex it out a little bit. But he's a hard worker. Jarquez Hunter, I know you guys are fired up about that. He's a bunker hero already. Power lifter in high school. Very, very fit individual. Very strong individual. Has muscles for days. He's probably the most fit freshman they've got. And they love his mentality. To me, it's a lot like Sean Shivers. I mean, Jarquez is undersized, but he's not as undersized as Shivers is. But I think he's ready to go. Eku Leota transferred in from Northwestern. I forget about him a lot. I don't know why. I'm always thinking about how they're shorthanded at defensive end, and then I forget about him. He was good at Northwestern, really good at Northwestern. He's rolled up in here, and he's been busting his ass, believe me. So he's a guy to keep an eye on. Landon King is probably, out of all the names on that list, he's probably the most flammable player, meaning I think that he's the kind of guy that can just blow up and become an absolute stud. Like, I think that Landon King has like first, second, third round of the NFL draft someday in him. He's insane. Look who it is. Cleve C. My man representing us, all of us, in Middle Georgia. Says Big JGT, earlier in the year after the Harsin hire, you had thoughts that Auburn had 7 wins this year. You still thinking the same. Looking forward to getting the Brain Drain team on a weekly basis really soon. War damn eagle to you in the bunker. Cleve, appreciate you, brother. Absolute legend. He's our man in Macon, and he's just an all-around stud. Appreciate you, Cleve. And I really enjoyed Pappyland as well. Of course, being able to read it and then drink it. All because of you, bro. Thank you. Let's see. What are we talking about? I got we're still going down the list. So Landon King, to me, as the helium alert, he may just completely blow up and be huge. I don't necessarily think it'd be this year because I still think the passing game's going to have to get sorted out. Like, and that's not a dig on Bo. I'm just saying, like, Bobo and Harsin, they're going to kind of figure out what they want to do and all that kind of stuff. B-Rads says the phone line's open. Let me do this. Let me finish this pushing ahead thing, and then we'll do that, okay? So my guess is that Landon King plays a fair amount this year, has a solid year, and then he blows up next year. There's too many people talking about how much of a physical freak he is. Colby Wooden, whose brother just committed to Auburn 3 weeks ago. Defensive end. He seems okay to me. Brian is BMAT's a lot higher on Colby than I am. Not to say I think he sucks or anything. I don't. He seems okay to me. Brian thinks he's absolutely outstanding, and Brian's probably right. Maybe I'm just missing that. I don't know. But he's been working hard no matter what. Jalen Simpson, cornerback, very physical player. Not surprised at all. He's had this reputation since he has been here that he's just an absolute worker. He's a maniac when it comes to just repping. I used to know, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a guy named John Broussard who used to play here. I think he left and went to Jacksonville State or somewhere like that. But during recruiting, he was a guy that would like intentionally miss reps. Like a lot of times when you're at a camp, you've got dudes like Jalen Simpson that want to get in the front and run every rep. Well, not everyone, but they would literally run every other rep if they could. And then John Broussard, you got guys like that are like trying to hide in the back and they don't want to rep at all. Yeah, Jalen was always that guy up in the front, and he's just that guy. Bo Nix has been apparently maybe it was because TJ showed up. Maybe it's just because Bo's Bo, but he's been leading like a sumbitch in all of these team events, team stuff they've been doing, pushing guys, getting behind defensive linemen if they're struggling and kind of pushing them along and encouraging them. The kinds of things that you would like to see out of a great quarterback. And TJ as well, transferring in from LSU. Probably going to start the season with a backup, obviously. I mean, you would think that. But he is not he's not coming in here to be a backup. He's been busting his butt and being a leader. He does have a year of experience. He started at LSU last year, so he knows how to do this. And there's your list. Some guys to think about. Everybody there has had a good summer. So to me, if I was going to go and put, some guys to say, oh, who's going to be the big breakout star, I would imagine it's going to be somebody probably on that list right there. Because usually the guys that are just killing it in the summer are going to be the ones that are just the most ready when the football season comes. Donovan Coffin, you're not going to outwork him. Ravine says, JG looking really crisp tonight. You mean my hair? No, you probably mean the video camera, but I was going to take it as a personal thing anyway. I'd love to see you, Ravine. Thanks, bro. Cass DL3 is in the house. Says, how's it going, y'all? Anyone enjoying the exquisite Kentucky bourbons? Not me. I'm drinking Tennessee tonight, yo. Auburn alumni says, isn't King playing wideout or hybrid wideout tight end? Yes. It's going to be kind of a flex position the way that Lutz was. Similar to Lutz. And I think he's got that crazy adaptability that Lutz had. It remains to be seen if he's going to be as effective as Lutz was. Lutz was a pretty special player, but too many people, offense and defense, keep saying that kid does crazy things on the field, and we'll just see. He was just kind of it makes sense. He played for a great team. He played with Demetrius, and he was kind of overshadowed on his own team. He was not somebody. He's not a big, come look at me, I'm going to tweet a bunch of pictures of myself and try to create hype. Like, he just kind of goes about his work. And he was content to be, another important part of that title that they won, Demetrius and that team. And he was content to just kind of go to Auburn and be himself, Robert M. says, Elijah Canyon on the list. I did not hear that name. So, no, he's not on the list. I think he could be – this is not a list of players that I think, if they're not on this list, they suck. I'm just saying these are the guys that coming out of the complex, people think that these guys have really – been the superior people during the summer. Let's see. AU Taxman's drinking the Four Roses Single Barrel Select OBSQ here. I do have a bottle here as a backup of the Four Roses Single Barrel. This one is a OESK, which I think a lot of people have been saying it's a good one. But I suspect, it being AU Taxman, his is probably better. Let's see. Oh, yeah, talking about Augustus' hair color. I would like to know more about that. I was on the show the other night with the War Report, and they were talking about Gustav and Harson with the uniform thing that Harson talked about at Media Days. So I was texting with Gustav about it, but I didn't really get an answer. Like, he was kind of asking for clarity on something, and I tried to explain it as best I could, but I never really got an answer. I was kind of hoping that he would have said something on that, but Gus kind of works in mysterious ways. I did notice his hair was a little lighter. And if that's true, I would definitely make fun of him because he made fun of me. He was like, "Man, why are you coloring your hair like that?" I was like, first of all, Gus colored his hair last year. He just colored it darker. And I colored mine lighter. But now he's doing it lighter. Keeping him eligible says bottle from Tower Liquor. Hell yeah, it was. I got friends out there looking for me. Got my back. Yo, 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 yo. Josh G with this is like the great statement of the whole show, I bet. Are you actually grinding if you don't post it on social media? No, you're not. Or maybe you could be. But usually no. But they are. How's that for a bunch of couching it? The phone lines are open. I know we're dying to hear from Auburn alumni. I would love to have him on. He said, in fact, Auburn alumni just says that Gus's hair is way blonder than mine. How about that? B-Rad says, what are your thoughts on the new SEC editions? Well, I went to high school in Oklahoma. I liked Oklahoma State better at the time. This was when, Thurman Thomas was there and Barry Sanders was there. And Oklahoma was just kind of coming down from the mid-'80s greatness. My man Bourbon Bowl in the house. What up? Still love the picture of Gus with the leather helmet. It's unbelievable. Appreciate the super chat, bro. Greetings from the Circle City. Is that Dothan? I think it's Dothan. Looking forward to a great season of draining with you guys. I could see 9 wins this season if things break the right way. Your thoughts, JGT? Awesome to be back. All right, let's take a look at this. Let's look at the schedule. Okay, so Akron's a dub. ASU's a dub. At Penn State. Let's get back to that. We'll come back to that. Georgia State, 3-0. This is tough, man. This is really tough because you're in the 5th game and you're already having to show your hand, right? I mean, you either think this team's going to be good or it's going to suck. My man flying around in the house, representing Central Alabama, a little bit north of me. In 2009, we're gimmick recruiting, LOL. 2021, can we bring back gimmick recruiting? Can we have Trooper back, please? Bourbon Bowl says yes, he is in Dothan. I was down in Dothan just a couple weeks ago, hanging out with my man Joe D., who was running the Wiregrass Auburn Club meeting at the church there. Cornelius Williams spoke to the crowd. Absolute legend. Okay, let's get back to this. Thank you very much, Flying Around. You're one of our all-time favorites. And you had one of the greatest calls that's ever happened in the history of calls. What a legend. All right, so at Penn State, shit. Oh, God. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say it's a dub at Penn State. I know that people are going to make fun of me. My friends that cover Penn State, they're going to kill me. I made some good friends with the Penn State Riders like 20 years ago when Auburn played them, and I kind of still talk to them. Well, a couple of them, one of them I talk to all the time. And they're going to get mad at me, whatever. Let's say, okay, so 4-0 Georgia State. If I give the Penn State game, I can't. You guys know more about LSU. I mean, what do you got? Is LSU's good right now? I'm generally not. Here's the thing. I was there the last time that Auburn won at LSU, and I was a kid. It was my first year covering Auburn full time, 99. Cole Kubelik smoking cigars. Oh, he offered me one. It was nice of him. I didn't smoke, though, at the time. I probably would smoke one now. Shit. Okay, so let's just say for shits and giggles, Auburn loses again in Baton Rouge. So that's 4-1. Georgia. Nope, I'm not seeing that. 4-2 at Arkansas. See, now I think Arkansas is going to slide a little bit. I think they were riding on that whole thing of like, we got this crazy Stay Puft Marshmallow Man on roids coach, and it's really cool to have somebody different, you know? And I don't think it's going to stick. So I think Auburn wins that game. For those reasons, I'm out. No, I'm just kidding. So it's 5-2. Ole Miss at home, I'm going to say 6-2, but I don't say that lightly because I think that Ole Miss is going to cause a lot of problems with that offense. So let's say 6-2. At Texas A&M. Oh boy. Not a big A&M believer. Part of that's because I'm just not a Jimbo guy. And they tend to be overrated. Fuck it, we'll say W. 7-2, Mississippi State 8-2, at South Carolina 9-2, and then Alabama 9-3. So 9-3. I mean, but that's a little bit of a reach, though. That's me including a win against A&M, and that's tough. So, and I think Penn State ain't easy either. I'm gonna go with 8. I mean, Auburn alumni says JG about to pull out the Magic 8-4 prediction. I think 9's just too optimistic. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't pass the sniff test, bro. B-Rad says A&M's bringing in a new quarterback, too. Yeah, they do. I mean, and I didn't even think much of the last one, honestly. But Auburn alumni says Auburn undefeated at College Station. It's still kind of a short rivalry there, but dude, Jeremy won down there, yo. I don't get the Baton Rouge thing, though. Like, to miss 5 field goals in a game, to have Gerard Powers bust a coverage. A guy's never busted a coverage in his life, and he busts one down there. Sneaky good player. We hardly ever talk about how great he was. I just think Georgia's going to be pretty good. I don't. People are going to be replaying this going, look at this Auburn dipshit. Thinks his team's going to be good. Harsin. Be like, yeah, whatever. We got our first call of the show. It's Auburn alumni. Uh-oh. They can't hear you. No, I can hear you, but they can't, I don't think. Dang. That's no good. You guys can't hear him, right? Can you hear me, bro? Yeah. You sound great, but it's not coming through on the show. I don't know why. Dang. Well, that's not good. You guys can't hear him, right? Nope. Mark says no. All right, let me work on this for a minute, Auburn alumni. I'll holler back at you, all right? Appreciate you, bro. Shoot. Dang it. I never had that happen. I don't even know how I would even troubleshoot that on the air like this. Yeah, Mayor Mixlot says no sound. Cleveland Brown says no. Weather says, yeah, we can't hear him. Dang it. Hey, Justin. He says, brain drain drinking game. Take a shot every time JG says legend. Hey, there's a lot of legends out there, okay? Weather says probably for the best. We can't hear him. Oh, damn, bro. Okay, let me think about this for just a second. I just have to think about it for a second. Gosh darn it. Thank you, Alpha Tiger, for that very nice way of saying it. Give me 1 second. I'm going to make one adjustment to my sound setup, and we'll see if that works. Hold on. All right. So I made a little adjustment there. Chip says, has the pug been chewing on cables? Hey now, I don't know about that yet. I don't know about that. All right. Let's see what happens here. I hear something popping. That's not good. All right, I'm going to go back. Give me 1 second. Man, I actually bought a new soundboard. Does it sound better now? I bought a new soundboard and it wasn't Mac compatible. I was like, what? What is this, like 88? Love the cat says sounds like you're in a barrel. I bet it's fine now. I went back to the old one here. Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha. Got you. Now I'm on the right microphone. Keeping him eligible says, is this Jay's version of preseason games? Yes. That's exactly what's going on, right? I don't know what happened with the Skype, yo. I bet it sounds better now, though. Ah, damn. Who gave us a dislike? Ravine says, does not sound better. Dang. All right. We're going to do what we do, yo. All right. Sounds better. Thank goodness. All right. Great. You guys are just a little bit behind me. Dang. So disappointed that Auburn alumni called in. I've been waiting for him to call in. He's always a great caller with lots of good questions. Love the cat says audio isn't 4K. It's preseason, guys. I'm still trying to get my stuff together, yo. Still working on it. Alpha Tiger says JG also manages the game clock at Jordan Hare. Hey now. Let's see if we can. This is so frustrating. I hate it when there's stuff like this happens. At least it's better than it was before, like when those of you who have been on the Brain Drain a while, when the damn show would just go dead. We had one show went dead 7 times. Like, hey, man, I can't have this. Anyway. Let's see if I can call B-Matt. Ow, look who it is. BP Rockman. What an absolute stud, man. There he is. He's not been posting on the bunker as much. Some jackass who's been banned posted something incredibly rude and inappropriate to BP. And I knocked that dude's ass out of the park like Cecil Fielder, like that one time he knocked the ball out of the stadium in Detroit. Boom. We love you, bro. Forrest says, hit that Taste Happy Hour today. Have you hit that yet? Because it is legendary. I have. They generally have a great array of bourbons up in there. The thing is, I feel like I'm cheating on the tipping point when I go to Taste, even though there's really no reason to think that, but I do anyway. And so I don't necessarily go to Taste all that much. I was at Tipping Point last night drinking, which happens sometimes. It was Justin who runs the Tipping Point. It was his birthday. And he hadn't been drinking lately. I think he'd been off for like 3 or 4 months. So leave it to me to knock him off the wagon again, bro. Leave it to your boy JG. All right, let's see if I can call B Matt and see if this thing will work. It just sounds quiet. What up, B Matt? How you doing? Yeah, unfortunately, my Skype's not working the way that it should, so they're not able to hear you, and I don't know why. So, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do the show with you on it. Oh, it makes me very sad, but I wish, man. I don't know what happened, but we'll try to figure it out, bro. All right. You're doing a hell of a job. I hope that whatever you're doing tonight, I hope you do it you have a 4th and 1 mentality with it. See you, bro. I was really hoping that by calling BMAT that it would, it would kick up and it would work the way that it should, but it didn't. So, and I'm just really against trying to figure this shit out on the air. It's so dumb. You guys are sitting there going, oh, this is scintillating watching JG trying to figure out what he's done wrong. I don't know. Jirow says Skype in 2021. I know, man. I know. I know. My bad. All right, now doing great. I do have more content for you guys, though. I mentioned earlier that with basketball, Robert Mosley just opened some Maker's Mark Private Select. Which one? I ran across some the other day at one of the gas stations, and depending on which one you get, that stuff can be absolutely delicious. There it is. B-Rad says Skype acting like Snapchat did last night. Easy Money says this is solid. They're solid. They're solid. Yeah. I've had better. Ravine says I'm pretty sure JG just used profanity. I probably did when my mic went dead. That was wonderful. Looks like I just picked the wrong night to quit sniffing glue, is what BP said. He's an airplane fan. Yes. Yeah. Not the great thing. B-Matt sounded great too. That's the bad part of it. He sounded great. He wasn't out of breath or anything. All right, moving on to let's see, summer pushing ahead. Oh yeah, this is what we're talking about. So they finished up summer workouts today in basketball, and they're going to be taking off until late August, I guess, when school starts and all that. They can kind of go back and start doing more stuff. But for the next month or so, it's going to be, basically just lightly supervised individual workouts. But today was their last workout. They did a what I would call a full contact scrimmage. They kind of play, they divvy up into two teams and they go at it. And the coaches kind of ref it a little bit or whatever. I don't know, just to make sure they don't do anything stupid. Anyway, they did probably 10 to 15, I guess, practices during the course of the summer. I saw several. BMAT saw several. Christian saw several. So we kind of got together today and talked about, I asked them to tell me the 3 players that they thought stood out the most to them in order from the summer. And you can see right there. So there's some commonality here. We all have Jabari somewhere. Brian has him number 1. Christian has him number 1. I had him number 2 because to me, Kessler was insane. Like, Walker Kessler, I haven't covered a player like that before. I mean, he's 7 feet tall. He's got a legitimate three-point shot. He can go back to the basket. He's good in transition. He has this insane, like, he's just going to try to get involved in everything, but he's not like a dummy about it. Like, he's just good enough to do that, you know? He's incredible. He's better than I expected. And, I mean, I watched him a little bit at North Carolina. I probably watched 3 or 4 games of his last year just out of curiosity because I knew he was interested in Auburn, you know, back then. He ended up going to North Carolina, but I was like, I want to see what they thought of him. And, I mean, he looked good, but he didn't look insane to me, but he looks insane now. So I had him number 1. But that's the best number 1 I've ever had in a summer session at Auburn. I mean, geez, this guy is incredible. And then we all have Jabari 1 or 2. I had him 2. And then Wen Green, which I have a couple reservations about Wendell that Brian and Christian don't have, but we'll just kind of go through it here. Brian has Jabari, Kessler, and Wen Green as his 1, 2, 3. Wendell Green, of course, for those of you who have not been paying attention like daily, he is the transfer from Eastern Kentucky. A little shorter, not a great athlete, but he's a shot maker. He's got a lot of energy, and he's really crafty in the full court, like transition-wise. He just kind of knows how to space. He knows where to look. He's going to be definitely a plus for this team. I really like him. I like his spirit. But to be fair, I haven't seen as much of Zep Jasper, who's the transfer in from Charleston. I've only seen him twice. And I don't know, he's just not – I think he's a good player. He's just quiet. And the one time I saw him, they weren't even like scrimmaging, so it was tough to really assess. I could very easily put Zep on there. I just hadn't seen him enough. So Kessler, Jabari, although Christian didn't include Jabari on there, he had Chris Moore. Christian's always had this like thing for Chris Moore. He thinks Chris Moore is going to be awesome. To me, he looks solid. I mean, you know, if you're like stacking the roster of the scholarship guys, you know, 1 through 11, I guess, to me, he's like, you know, 9, 10, or 11. But I also trust Christian, you know. He's watched his fair share of practices, and that's the guy that stood out to him. So when we go to the so those are the picks. You guys have seen that. I had Al Flanagan 3rd. I thought Al looks great. He looks in great shape. He's always a hard worker. Hit a lot of shots. Just a cunning player. If there's a knock on Al, it's just that he's quiet. And that's going to be I think the really tough thing for this ball club is that the most experienced players are also guys that are quiet. Al Flanagan's like insane. Like he won't say a word on the court. Jalen, he doesn't talk much either. Devin talks some, but it's like he's saying the wrong things. Like he doesn't necessarily know what's going on exactly. I'm not a big Devin fan. So those are your 3 most experienced players, and you'd probably rather than not be talking much. And so BP's always jumping their ass because they got to communicate better. So, yeah, we've got that. I was going to go back to the basketball depth charts now. We've looked at that. And we went through this last week, but you know, at point guard, I've just kind of figured that Zep's going to be the guy. He's got a lot more experience than Wendell does. But, you know, based on what we've seen, I haven't seen as much of Zep. I wouldn't want to put too much on Zep without watching him another 5 or 6 practices at least. I just think that because he's older and more experienced, he's going to play ahead of Wen, at least initially. But it's possible that point guard situation could be backed up, you know, where Wen starts and Jasper kind of comes off the bench. Also, I think particularly Jasper could play shooting guard too. And you're not locked into Devin Cambridge because I think Devin makes a lot of mental mistakes. I think he elicits a lot of frustration with those. And at some point, BP's just going to be like, dude, if you can't handle your shit, you're not going to play. Like, I don't know what else to say about it. But we all agree, Jabari he's as silky smooth as a freshman you'll ever see. I mean, he's just, everything he does just looks like it's been rehearsed 1,000 times. Like he's like a dancer. He just flows into it. It's crazy. And Walker just blows me away. Like he's 7 feet tall, but he doesn't play like it. He plays like he's 6'6". I mean, he has that quickness. He'll slash. He'll dunk on people. Like he has that brash attitude that you normally see out of a small forward who just wants to take on the world and dunk on people. Like he has that attitude, but he's 7 feet tall and he plays center. Auburn alumni was saying something we talked about in the bunker earlier today, that every team Wendell is on in these scrimmages, they win. And it does tend to be the case, but remember that BP is he puts the teams together, and I think sometimes he puts the teams together to screw up, meaning he'll put Jalen and Al and Devin on the same team and say, somebody talk, please. Somebody talk. And then it puts Zepp in a bad spot. if whoever the point guard is with that group, you're like, oh, God dang. Travis in the house has just got off work, Jay. 13 hours. Dang, man. He hates that Sharif fell to the second round. I'm glad to hear you say that. Some people are actually cheering for that. I told y'all he should have stayed. Yeah, I mean, his shot's got some issues. His shot is not great, but he's got a lot of other things about him that are great, and, we'll just kind of see what he can make do out of that. So, you look at this. I mean, Kessler and Jabari, I think they're potentially like all SEC players, like first team. Jabari's almost a shoo-in to be on the all-freshman team. So if this 11 right here, if you don't have any significant injuries to this 11, I think this group right here challenges for the SEC title. I just think you got everything you need. You got ball handling, you got screen, you got KD playing defense, you got Al playing defense, you've got Jabari doing his thing. Kessler's going to be an absolute menace. Cardwell's going to be a menace defensively. He's just going to hustle on people and annoy them all the time. I think that Devin's a liability at shooting guard, and I wish they had a better option there, but, you can't be perfect all the time. Alexander A. uses justice for Stretch. I like Stretch. He's like when you're at practice, you notice him all the time. He's always busting ass, and he communicates great. He's a good example setter. He's playing hard. He's dunking. He's doing the extra things when they're sprinting. He's one of the first people out and in. You love having a guy like Stretch playing for you. He's just an absolute perfect glue guy. But I think when you're looking at him compared to Kessler, there's no comparison. I think Akingbola is a terrific athlete, but when you talk about basketball skills, Walker Kessler's on another planet. And Jabari's on another planet too. Jabari, a couple things that'll surprise you about Jabari is that he's not the greatest athlete you've ever seen. He's long and he's thin. And he's fine. I'm not saying he's like some goober. He's not. He's a good athlete. But, for me, Stretch is a better athlete. D'Angelo Purifoy is a better athlete. But Jabari's just smooth. He's got all the basketball skills. And he just has this thing where, when the competition gets hotter, he steps up. When people are kind of pushing on him and trying to mess with him, he doesn't, start fighting them. He just raises his game. So I think he's going to be a stud. But you're still going to need Jalen. Because Jabari can't play 35 minutes a game. It's got to be Jalen and Jabari. Alexander says, do you think Stretch can take some minutes from Cardwell? Cardwell's hands, good point, left a lot to be desired last year. The thing with Stretch is he just gets out of position too easily. Willingly, he kind of does it. He takes himself, he takes himself out of position some. And he's got to work on that. I think he's going to get better. He's a bright kid, and he certainly works hard. He's not out there dilly-dallying or anything like that. I promise you that. So here we go. We got some basketball talk in there. Easterwood jumps in with a super chat. Of course, everybody knows Easterwood's one of the all-time greats. Jay, I'm trying to call in to talk smack to non-page 69 people and a UGNC engineer. Unfortunately, Easterwood, we're having some Skype problems tonight. That's a problem we've never had before. And your boy, JG, I'm not sure how to fix that in real time. And so I don't want to try to mess with that while I'm doing the show. It very much sucks that we don't have that going the way that it should. I'm scared to mess with anything right now. So as to your question earlier, Alexander AU, yes, I think Stretch can sneak in there and take some minutes from Dylan because you're right. He does have some turnover issues, just catching the ball. Sometimes he'll do a turn and he'll lose the ball. He needs to work on that. It certainly isn't weakness. I think it's just lack of experience with him. Remember, he wasn't playing much in high school, honestly. But Stretch has his own problems, too. I think those guys will just kind of fit into their roles. I think Dylan will play more than Stretch, but they're both valuable. Let's see, Brad, on my Skype problem, says he blames the Horn brothers, all three of them. Hornacius, Hornamania, and Hornswoggle. Hornacius says, Stone deleted his post to get you on 69 Faker. Hey now. Ravine says Cardwell's hands were no worse than Austin Wiley. What? You know what? If you're trying to be positive about something, that's one way to put it, yeah. Some of that is teaching the guards how to feed the post and getting that chemistry. There is no doubt about that, Ravine. You made a great point. BP has been absolutely just killing those guys because the guards have not done a good job of feeding the post, and that's something they got to get better at. We talked about it on the show last week, I think, that in the AAU world, there's not a lot of feeding the post. It's just kind of like this full-scale assault, full court, dunking, alley-ooping. You don't have a lot of slowdown where you've got to kind of pick out post guys and kind of know where they're going to go on the block and get screened out so they can catch the ball. It's kind of a new skill. I mean, when we played basketball in the 80s, I'm 49 years old, that was something we taught a lot. But, I mean, the game's changed so much. I don't think Sharif Cooper spent a lot of time feeding the post. I know Wynn hasn't. So they're not very good at it. And they got to get better. It's something BP knows, and he works on it. He makes them work on it. Auburn alumni says Arkansas will be very, very good in basketball. Yeah. Eric Musselman can coach, yo. He's good. He's really, really good. He thinks that Arkansas will stay in the upper echelon as long as Musselman is there. That's the question, though. Arkansas, to me, is not a destination job anymore. Maybe it is for Musselman. I don't know. He's not from here, though. Not from this part of the country, so you always got to wonder a little bit. Hornacius, who posts here as Love the Cats, says, I love Jimpty, $11 million super chat. Jimpty, of course, is the bunker member. Now, no longer a bunker member. Well, he may be a bunker member. He's not using that handle anymore. Who famously took some football tickets but didn't pay for them. And I had to get involved. Yeah, I did. I did get that member his money, but I had to actually get involved directly on that, and Jimpty eventually did pay up. But as soon as he paid up, he deactivated that account. My guess is that he's back under another handle. I don't think he was a bad member. He just kind of screwed that guy out of his money. But ultimately, he got his money back. Connor AU jumping in, my main man. Love the I was going to say a bad word there. Love the toad. I know that toad. I see it from Castro, the FIFA streamer. He does that toad stuff all the time. Finally figured out how to comment on these things. Hashtag 1980. You made it happen, bro. And you reminded us all the last time Georgia won a national title, which has been a hell of a long time. Pocket Watch says Jimpty came back as Wardam EJ. I don't think he's a bad guy. And when I got on him, he paid up, but it should have come to that. It really shouldn't have come to that. Stephen Dubb jumps in with a super chat as well. Thank you, bro. Love that lab right there. Reminds me of my wife's old dog. Ikey, a.k.a. Ike. Power Man can help you fix the audio problem. He's a whiz. I wish he was here right now to fix this. I can't believe it. Of all the problems I've had on this show, I've never had a Skype problem. And I'm sure it's like one little box I got to click that through the upgrades. Because like every now and then, Ecan will send me an automatic upgrade. He'll say, we're going to upgrade your... And I was like, no. I'm one of those guys, like when I get my shit working, like let's just leave it, Whatever great bells and whistles you're going to offer me with the new update, I'd rather not have my shit quit. And, yeah, this kind of stuff happens. I'm sorry, guys. I hate it. You guys know I hate it. Those of you who are long-term brain drainers know. I will get it fixed. We will get it right in time for next week's show. Or my name ain't Brian Matthews. Just kidding. Auburn alumni says Bruce Pearl has turned the worst basketball program in the SEC historically into a blue blood in 7 years. Yep. And to think there were people, first of all, that were bitching last year, and there were people about 2 years or 3 years into it that were whining too. He's out there playing with Malcolm frickin' Canada. And you guys are like, hey, man, what's wrong? I remember the second year when he had Casey Ross Miller. And it was like, hey, BP, I said this in a press conference. You keep calling these plays, and I don't think that KC's running the plays that you're calling. Am I right? He goes, nope, you're right. He's not. I said, hey, man, it's February. Are you surprised? He said, yeah, I am. He should be doing better. That's what they were dealing with back then. Alpha Tiger wants to know if Gary 07 is calling in tonight. Tonight is not our North Carolina show, so we won't be having him on. We were going to talk to who are some of those goober? Eric Montross, Jeff Lebo, Rick Fox. We're going to have them on and have Gary have a chance to fillet those guys. But since Skype isn't working, we won't do it tonight. Cleveland Brown, thank you for the positivity. He says, better your Skype issue happen now rather than week 1 and beyond. Yeah, we got to get it worked out, yo. Oh, talking about Josh, not Josh Thompson. I know you're talking about the forward from Dothan. I forgot his first name, though. He was actually a pretty good player for what he was. But, I mean, he's no Walker Kessler or anything. IU Texman says, can this team win big without a legit three-point threat? No. The answer to that question is no, but I think they have some three-point shooters. Wen's a three-point shooter. I mean, I'm not saying he's a three-point maker, but he's definitely going to be a three-point shooter. He shot a decent percentage last year. Zepp kind of dropped last year after being pretty good his first 2 years at Charleston. My guess is they were able to get him straightened out. His shot looks good to me. I mean, he looks like a smooth player to me. He's going to be Alex Thompson. Thank you, Auburn alumni. Yes, the young man out of Dothan who played forward and ended up somewhere else. He's a good kid, though. Auburn alumni correctly assesses that our guards can shoot. Yeah, to me, here, let me go back to our basketball page. I mean, Zepp's at least a solid three-point shooter. Wen is at least a solid three-point shooter. KD is at least a solid three-point shooter. Al was a really good shooter last year. Got a whole lot better. Jabari's a good three-point shooter. I don't know what numbers he's going to shoot. I'm going to imagine he's going to be in the 35 range, not the 45 range, but it's still really good for a 4. And Walker, I bet you ends up shooting 35% as a center. And, I mean, I think he's going to actually shoot some. Like, I think he'll finish the season, with 23s or something like that. He's a good player, man. Those guys can shoot. You don't have the guy like Bryce that's a 45% shooter, I don't think, but they got dudes. My man Leif's in the house. We love you, Leif. This is all you need to know about what Pearl has done for Auburn. It's July and fans are talking basketball. He's right about that. Leif may be an Ole Miss man married to an Arkansas girl, but he knows what he's talking about. That's happening in only one other part of the SEC, and he's talking about Kentucky. But I think Arkansas does some of that now, too. Auburn alumni says the entire starting 5 can shoot threes. I agree. Ravine says feeding the post will give those guys even better looks from 3. That's the thing. BP's always telling them that. The more you pass and the more you get the big guys involved, the better, the more quality shots you're going to get yourself. And Wen is the kind of guy that's going to get it. Zepp is the kind of guy that already gets it. So it's going to be good. They're going to get that part down. And I still believe Walker's going to blow you guys away. You're going to love Jabari too, but Walker to me is just like an absolute freak of nature. Chip says Jabari and Kessler shooting 35% from deep and posterizing fools in the paint going to be nice. Yeah, I'm interested to see how Jabari's going to score. I mean, I know he's going to score. I'm curious to see how he scores. Like, is he going to be a guy that scores a lot in transition? Is he a guy who's going to score a lot on cuts? Yeah, I don't necessarily see him creating his own shot a lot out there, but he's still very effective because he's a great shooter. And they're always having to push up on him, and then they'll drive around him. I just don't know if that's really his game for real, but we'll find out. He's a player. J-Dub, my man. What up, bro? Hope to see you tomorrow night, man. That's why we're doing the show on Friday. So I can hang out with you guys tomorrow night. So looking forward to it, bro. We're going to be doing some drinking. As you would expect when you're hanging out with JG. BP says, passing is a lost art of the game. It really kind of is. I feel like transition passing isn't, but like half-court passing really is. The patience isn't there, and like it takes you got to rep it a lot to know, like when Walker's coming off a screen to get open on the block, you have to anticipate that and see it. And I think that Zepp's going to see that better than when, but just give him a little time. Giroux says, by the way, JG, Bo Nix just got engaged. Sorry to break the news to you. I'm devastated. It's tough. That's really tough. Chip says he's been watching Larry Bird highlights lately as a lark. I highly suggest it if you have a minute. Wow, you're a little younger than me, but we watched that shit live, and I hated the Celtics. But I do respect him. Hornation says we need a Birmingham meet and greet ASAP. I know somewhere we can meet, bro. How about the same place we hung out before? At Soho Social in Homewood. Unbelievable place. The food there is incredible. The ambiance is unbelievable. I bet you every single day if you go in there, you're going to meet a bunker member. Leif B says, legit question, what is Chris Porter doing now? Remember when he took over the SEC, he was just on a different level for a short time. He had legit quickness and power. He sure did. He might be the most bouncy dude I've ever seen. I don't know what he's up to now. I mean, I talked to him. I saw him maybe 2 or 3 years ago at the arena and talked to him a little bit, but I don't go, hey, man, where are you working? I don't know. I just kind of was like, what's up, man? And plus, man, like Charlton Barker was there, who I love. I love him probably more. And Scotty Pullman, I probably love him more. And Mamadou was there, who he didn't remember me, but that's cool. Whatever. And God, who else was on it? Jay Hurd. Have you heard? Have you heard? Charlton Barker's an absolute stud, man. You guys remember him? He was kind of like the short backup point guard. He's like an engineer now. And, of course, Scotty P. You guys always remember him. Auburn alumni says he was a Cliff dweller in 98-99. That was a damn special time. Hell yeah, man. When I was there in 98-99, those dudes behind me, the hard hat guys, they were students, and they were in the student section that was sitting right behind us when we used to work on the side. And they had the hard hats on, and they would go, have you heard? Have you heard? When Jay Hurd would hit a three. I love Jay Hurd. Auburn alumni says Scotty P is big time in finance right now. He told me that he's living up in I don't remember. It's an Atlanta suburb. I just don't remember. Auburn alumni remembers Jay Hurd. Said he's the microwave. Let's see. BP says he's moving to the new apartments, Greystone Point, near Auburn High. Hey, that's by Bow and Arrow then, dude. We love eating there, bro. Maybe we can meet you over there and have a lunch or a dinner. Or maybe a late night. Little bit of late night. Yeah. Pocket Watch says he was a Cliff dweller then, back in the day. Maybe you guys were networking back then. Oh, my goodness. Hornacia says his wife, who runs the show, as you guys know, believes that BP Rockman has the prettiest smile she's ever seen. He then brought a pregnancy test that day. Wow. Oh, Auburn alumni says Scotty P moved to Nashville. He was in Atlanta last time I talked to him, but it's been a minute. Wasn't like last week. Yeah, working in corporate finance is what Auburn alumni says. I knew he was a money guy. If you talk to him, you know he's a money guy. He has that, you know what I mean? Analytical feel about him. But, man, he sure was fun to cover. When they got in the tournament, though, the problem with that team was this is the 99-2000 team. When that team got in the tournament, they got weird about reporters, and they kind of decided, and Doc was included in this. Doc Bryant, were doing the thing where like they didn't want to say anything to reporters and they were kind of being dicks. I talked to Doc about it later, and he said he didn't really remember it. He remembered doing that, but they were probably just tired of dealing with it, because when you go to the tournament, man, you have to go to like these interviews and they ask you the same shit. So like in that tournament, like the Creighton writers would sit down and ask them a bunch of dumb shit, and then like the Iowa State reporters would sit down and ask them the same dumb shit, and then we would be asking them the same dumb shit, but it wasn't the same dumb shit as the other dumb shit people were asking them, so it was like different dumb shit. I think they just got tired of it, but Scotty P never did, yo. Scotty P would continue talking and do his thing, and Abe would too. Abe Smith was his friend, another player from Atlanta. And he was really cool, too. But Doc's great now, man. He goes by Julius now, but whatever. That's good times back then. I did not like Chris Porter, I'll tell you guys honestly. I thought he was difficult to work with, and I was really glad when he left because I was like, I was just over him. I didn't need to be talking to him anymore. And then the great thing was the next star at Auburn was Marquise, who was a great guy. Like, Marquise was so easy to talk to. Friendly person, came in as like an academic risk guy and then graduates in 3 years. Like, he's the greatest. Like, Marquise he doesn't get enough credit for being such an incredibly great story at Auburn. Because he didn't end up being like a Barkley type player. It seems like, at Auburn, you got to be Barkley or like the Rifleman. You got to be like an NBA All-Star 5 times over. Or in Barkley's case, one of the NBA's top 50 players ever to get any notice around here. But Marquise was a great story, a great guy. He's still helping Auburn. He's still working there. Auburn alumni says Mamadou was one of the nicest human beings on the planet. I know, man. He is, and I don't understand how he's still a coach because like coaches can't be that nice, right? But he's an incredibly generous person. And he says always walking around campus singing songs, which is exactly like Chuma used to do. One day I was walking to the arena, and here comes Chuma, and he's just singing the SpongeBob song. He didn't even have headphones on. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, singing SpongeBob. Like, all right. Chuma's, he's something else, man. But I agree, Mamadou's probably the nicest player I ever knew. Let's see, Stephen Dubb says Abe Smith, who played forward on that team. I can't remember what number he wore, maybe number 40? I don't remember. Abe is doing great with the insurance business these days. Good man and helping me on some business. Awesome. Love to hear it. Oh, man, that's tough here. Hornatius says favorite Auburn player to interview for basketball, football, and baseball. Man, that's tough. Well, I'll start with baseball because I know who that is. That was definitely Brent Schoening. I loved hanging out with Brent Schoening. When I first started on the beat, I was probably 25. Schoening was like 21. 22, I don't remember. I felt like he was kind of like my age, and we hung out some. I mean, not like socially. It wasn't like I went over to his apartment and kicked it, but like back in those days, I covered baseball a lot, and so I would sit in the dugout and talk to him a lot, and me and him just got along really good, and I kept up with him some when he went in the minors. I still to this day think that, this has changed since like I saw the Cam Newton shit happen in 2010, but prior to that when people would say, what's the greatest thing you ever saw at Auburn? Dude, his pitching performance down there at Florida State in the 99 tournament, I know Auburn didn't win that regional, and so people forget about it. They won the one the year before on the dramatic home run, but in 99 they played at Florida State, and they had a really good team, Auburn did, and Brent Schoening was an absolute badass. He pitched like 150 pitches that night. Literally gave Auburn everything he had in his arm, and just wasn't quite enough. He got him to the ninth inning, and then they lost it in the ninth, but what he showed that night to me was like I've never seen anything like it. So definitely Brent Schoening for me on baseball. Okay, basketball. Really liked Kenny Gabriel. I really liked Marquise. I liked Bryce a lot when he wasn't behind a mic. So like when I would just talk to Bryce, like at practice or whatever, like he was awesome. He's a great kid. He's not, he's a grown man now, but he's awesome. I would, off the top of my head, I would say Kenny Gabriel though. It's probably my all-time favorite. And then football, I just don't even know how I'd whittle that down. I just don't know how I'd whittle that down. I mean, there's just too many. I mean, Quentin Groves was a friend of mine. Sinderic was a friend of mine. I love those two guys. Pat Lee, great guy. Yeah, Montavious from a couple 3 years ago was awesome to talk to. So good. He's the guy that looked like he was 40, but he wasn't. James Callier, when I first started in 99 or 98, was really good. Karsten Bailey was really good back then. Ben Leard was always great at talking to us, even when he felt like shit because he was getting his brains beat in every week. Auburn alumni said apparently he knows him too, James Callier. I think he changed jobs recently. He had been coaching, but I don't think he's coaching now. Easy Money jumping in. Appreciate you, bro. That's 2 in a row for you. You were in on the last show, too. I'm sorry I'm not taking calls tonight. It really sucks. My bad. He says, got the brain drain on the big screen, JG, and the hair is flowing. Football, will this staff take 6 games to figure out the roster? I don't think they're going to have that problem. I really don't, but I think that's a Gus problem. I mean, this is going to kind of be a weird situation, though, Easy Money, because you got a new staff and new dudes, right? So that you think there's going to be a little bit of getting to know people. Unfortunately for Gus, it was like that every year. So I would give him a little bit of time, but I think by the Penn State game, they'll be okay. Easy Money, appreciate you, bro. Auburn alumni also, it's becoming apparent to me you're about my age. Anyway, you're a little bit younger than me, but yeah, Quentin Groves, I miss him a lot. He was so much fun. He got the biggest kick out of my name. I was Sergeant Teabag when I was playing Call of Duty back then, and he thought that was so funny. And so when I told him that, he like was crying, laughing, and then he would always call me Sergeant when he saw me. What's up, Sarge? And we would play back in those days a lot. He was so bad. He was a terrible player. He just didn't understand the concept of like cover. So he would like run out in the street and he'd get shot from 5 different directions and be pissed off that he got shot. And Patrick Lee or something like that, who's actually a good player, would be like, yo, man, you got to get out of the street. Hornatius is joking, but he says, how was Stanley McClover in an interview? I only interviewed him like a couple, 3 times. He seemed all right. Lots of dudes are just kind of okay, you know. So, yeah, if I had to pick one. All right, if I had to pick one, it would probably be Jeremy Engel on football. I loved him above all. He was from Montgomery, totally shit on, like forgotten about early in his career. Ended up being a center, ended up starting for the 04 team. Damn good player. Wasn't ever going to play in the NFL or anything, but he still just gave everything he had, and he was good. And he was from my town. So Jeremy Engel, great guy. There's so many, though. I mean, James Callier would probably be right there. Quentin would be right there. And Tyrese Williams is right there. Love him. Just trying to think of guys that I'm Facebook friends with because I wouldn't Facebook friend people if I didn't love them. Courtney Taylor. Timmy Duckworth. That guy's an absolute stud. I love that guy. He gets forgotten a lot. Let's see. Leif says, JG, you've been trash talking any teenagers on PlayStation lately. So my new thing to do on FIFA, because people haven't been talking to me as much lately, so I try to get it started, is that I tell them that they got beat by somebody who's almost 50 years old. I tell them I'm 49 years old and you just lost to an old-ass man, and that usually gets them started, and then they tell me to, like, whatever. Whatever they come back with is what they come back with. Pocket Watch says, Pride of St. James, talking about Jeremy Engel. Indeed. I wrote a big story, won a bunch of awards for a story. His best friend, Logan Markham, who played with him at St. James, was coming up to visit him at Auburn, coming up to visit Jeremy at Auburn, and crashed his car and died in a collision there just a little bit short of the Wire Road exit. And wrote a story about that. And, it was a couple years later, and Jeremy was still really affected by it. And Logan Markham had been he's a very popular individual. So I just wrote a story about that. And Jeremy was very gracious to give me a lot of access and a lot of great quotes about it. And I talked to Logan's family and Jeremy's family and some other players. I know Brett Edens was involved in that story as well because Brett, although he went to Trinity here in Montgomery, he was good friends with Logan Markham as well and knew him. And he's another class individual that I hadn't listed on my list earlier. Brett Edens for sure. I was also there because I was writing for the newspaper. So there were 3 Edens kids. There was, you guys know Brett, who was the middle guy. Bart was the baby. But Blake was the oldest one, and he was a basketball player. He was going to go to Auburn. He was going to be a walk-on at Auburn, and he was going to be good. I mean, he would have been a guy that eventually earned his scholarship. And he was at the fucking Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game there in Montgomery at AUM, and Nolan Richardson was there and saw him play and offered him right there. And I was there. He was like, I just got offered to go to Arkansas. I was like, holy shit. And it really bothered Cliff because Cliff thought that he was going to be able to sneak him through. Because that was the summertime, and he thought that he'd basically done all, he wasn't going to offer him a scholarship, but he thought he had gotten him on, as a PWO, I guess you would call it. And then he went to Arkansas, and he was pretty good. Those Ed boys play hard now. Yes, AU Texas says Blake was a baller. Auburn alumni says Blake played at Arkansas. He played a lot. Played a lot at Arkansas. He's a very popular player. Pocket Watch says he went to basketball camp for years with all 3 Edens brothers. That's cool. Some good dudes there, man. Nice people. Brett. Pocket Watch says Cliff screwed up not offering him a scholarship. I don't know. I mean, Blake was good. I'm not sure that he was quite that good. But, we'll see. Auburn alumni says Adam Harrington, who also was a nice guy to talk to. I actually spoke with him more later on, though, after he had left Auburn, and I got to know him a little bit better. Is now the director of player development at Brooklyn. That's probably because of his relationship with Big Daddy Kevin Durant. He was like Kevin Durant's personal trainer. And Adam's a very bright dude. Good. Just good. He's just good. And he lives for basketball, and I'm glad to see that's working out. You Texman says he used to play pickup with those guys at the Southeast Y. Wow. I doubt you would go play with them now at the Southeast Y, but maybe you would. I don't know. I know I wouldn't. Alpha Tiger jumped in earlier, and I did not. I was in the middle of a rant about whatever I was ranting about. Alpha Tiger, who is, of course, our number 1 Swoogan, and who got his own Brain Drain Swoogan glass right here. He gets the 001 glass. And he also has a $1 put in there from Chip, who said that he owed him $1 for using Swoogan. There's also a note here. Every single, I know this because I looked through these. There's 13 of them. Chip, who made these for us, who etched these, unbelievable. He has a certificate of authenticity with an AU, of course, capitalized. I don't want to spoil it, but he actually hand wrote all of these for all 13. I mean, if that's not a legend, I don't know what is. Alpha Tiger says, Fire Gus. Also, any early guesses as to direction Auburn goes AD position once it's open? Great question. No, I don't. I do think that if something happens to ADAG in the next, let's say, 2 months, I think Rich McGlynn would be the guy. I had said earlier I thought Marcy would be. I was kind of just using my brain on that. But I've had people tell me that they thought that Rich would probably be the guy. And I think a lot of Rich McGlynn. I know some of you guys don't for whatever reason, but the guy's, I think he's the best there is. So, my opinion. Stephen W. says, Will Herring needs a shout out for Iron Man all time. Yes. I saw Will at Voodoo maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. He was chowing down on some wingage. Still looked super fit, like he's ready to play. I did a radio show with Will for a couple years on the radio station up in Auburn. And he's a very bright person. Like, he's got a lot of interesting ideas on shit. Like, with football, he knows how to kind of weave it in the conversation, too. He's really cool. He's intimidating, though, man. He's, like, really, really intimidating still. I mean, I have a hard time. I don't feel comfortable around Will, honestly, because he's just too intimidating for me. Stu Pup jumps in. The man he's super chatted like every show we've ever done because he's an absolute legend. Says that the Edens hit on LSU quarterback in 2004 game was the pregame highlight reels for years. It was iconic. It really was. it was just like the perfect moment for him, you know? Kid from Montgomery, probably athletically not quite, you know, on that level, but he played hard and he studied hard and he gave a shit. And he got his chance and he made a big play. The great thing about him is that he knew what he was. He knows what he is. Like he's so real. Like that's the best thing about Brett. Like there's no pretension with him. You know what I mean? He's just a good, straight up dude. Love him. Love the cat says I have a Rona cough. Bro, I just got this. I've just been sitting here drinking this Blue Note, bro. That's all. Auburn alumni says Will Herring would have fit right in on a Pat Dye's 80s defense. You know what's crazy about Will Herring, though, is that when I first met him, that was when they used to do the Capital City Combine, of course, in Montgomery, which is the capital. Thanks, Stu Pup. I appreciate you, bro. He was a quarterback / safety at Auburn High. Hell yeah, he was. He ends up being a great linebacker. AU Taxman says, with Michelle McKenna, or Michelle McKenna Doyle, depending on whatever, would she ever be an AD consideration? Would she ever be interested? That's a great question. If you're asking me my opinion, I think she would be interested. I don't think that she would get that consideration. Let me take that back. She would get the consideration. Would she get the job? That's the thing. And I don't think she would. That's an interesting, she's a really interesting person because she is a vestige, if you will, of the Dye days. Like she worked for Coach Dye and she obviously is very involved in football still. No one has ever questioned her appreciation or love for Auburn. That's for sure. And I know she's got the ability to kind of do that job, but I just wonder, like, because I feel like Allen, in a way, was kind of an out-of-the-box hire. You know, small school, didn't have a lot of SEC experience. Let's give it a shot and see if some youthful exuberance will help us, and it hasn't really. And that's it. Michelle's not youthful exuberance. She's just like middle-aged exuberance, I guess, but no experience being an AD. She works for the NFL as like I think she's the chief information officer or something. She tends to do like more outreach stuff for them is what it looks like to me. I don't sit around and hang out with her a lot, but I like her. She's a nice person. And I think she would do a good job. It's just like, are they willing to take a risk again? My guess is that Auburn's going to have to go and get like they can't get Dan Radakovich, okay, who's at Clemson, but the next Dan Radakovich, whoever that is. Some dude at like, I don't know, like LSU or something. I wish they could get Scott Strickland because he's a great AD. He's a great communicator. He worked at Auburn. I met him when he was at Auburn, but I think he's good at Florida now. Patman says he flirted with Will's sister while at Auburn. You're lucky he didn't just knock you into the ground like whack-a-mole, bro. Because he's certainly capable of that. I know you and I know him, and he would have whooped your ass. Of course, if you want to know my opinion, I don't think Will lost a lot of fights. Auburn alumni says, JG, your opinion is that a slam dunk the SEC moves to a 9-game conference season or 10 once OU and Texas are in. I think that's the only way they can do it, bro. Ross Dellinger wrote a great story the other day. Delly, former Auburn beat writer, by the way. God, he's gotten so big. I'm so stoked for him. He was talking about the different paradigms that have kind of come up where currently you've got a 6-1-1. Will they go divisionless where it's like, 16 teams, top 2 go? To me, that's not going to work because you're always going to be fussing about, well, Georgia's in 3rd place and they lost this game, but they won these games and all that bullshit. It's going to be like the 1990 national championship bullshit over again with Colorado and Georgia Tech where it's like, what's the quality of the losses and the quality of the wins? I think the SEC needs a way to categorize who's going and who's not. So to me, divisionless is not going to work. Divisions to me means that you're going to have to play everybody in your own division every year, which at that point is, 7 automatic games plus 2 rotating? I'm still a fan of the pod situation. I think that makes the most sense. And I've been poo-pooed a little bit about that, particularly on G-Pits. They were making fun of me about it. But some of my friends in Kentucky who are just like regular like football fans like a lot of us are, just they're not crazy Kentucky fans. They just like Kentucky and they go to the games and they love going to Auburn and love going to Alabama and they just want to go around the SEC and kind of see shit, If you go pods, then everybody can go places and see shit, Hey, I can go to A&M. Hey, I can go to Kentucky. I can go to Vanderbilt and laugh at their Commodore walk or whatever. I can go to Florida or whatever. Hey, Steve Spurrier used to coach here, whatever. AU Storm 20 in the house. Appreciate you, bro. AU Storm 20, one of our great callers. Unfortunately, the Skype's not working tonight. And I can't have you on the air, but I sure would like to have you on the air. It says, looking forward to another season of the Train. Boo! Appreciate you, bro. We're looking forward to having you on the drain when I get my Skype working again. James C. has an interesting idea. He says shuffled divisions is the answer. Shuffled based on prior year's results. Well, but you can't go east-west, right? I mean, you can't just change that shit up. You can't put South Carolina in the west and put Missouri in the east and shit like that. You can't do that, I don't think. Stu Pup's with me, though. He thinks pods are the only way to do it. And also, as Ross pointed out in his story for Sports Illustrated, the SEC network went right out and posted about pods the next damn day on their own network. They're like, well, here's a proposal for how pods would work. And I'm not trying to say that they took my shit. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying I posted that shit on Twitter the night before. Me and my man my cuz lives across the street from me here in Hampstead. And we just sat down and scatterbrained, a pod system. And we just kind of pulled this team there and pulled that team there and set it up. And we thought we got to a point where we had 4 good pods. I put that shit on Twitter, and then all of a sudden, I'm just saying. James C. says, don't need east-west. You can get a flight to any school in 2 hours. I don't know about that, bro. Oklahoma, I have flown from Atlanta to Oklahoma, and it's more than 2 hours. But it's not more than 4. Ravine likes the pod format. Hey, man, that's all I need to hear right there. My man Ravine is always the voice of reason. Late B. So Late B is kind of going with James C. a little bit on this. He says, said it before and I'll say it again. Every 2 years, draw up new pods on TV. Must see TV. Oh, it sure would be. Lou B, my main man. What's up, bro? Relegate and promote teams like the English Premier League. Oh, yeah.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
That would be fun. Nobody in America wants to do that. They don't want to get relegated. I know you're just kidding, but like even in the real sports like baseball and shit, like they would not. They wouldn't risk relegation. Even MLS won't do that. Christian C., my main man, he is coming in from – no, he's not actually. I was going to say he's coming in from Montana, but he's back now. He says, give me the pods. Give me the pods. Give me the pods.
If I come in here look swole and big and strong and tough, y'all going to give me that award, right?
He loves it. Oh, Hickadoola, thank you very much for the correction there. He says, Will Herring did go to Opelika. I looked it up. I said earlier Auburn. My bad. He did go to Opelika. You're absolutely correct. He would have whooped my ass for saying that, too. He would have just gone, boom, 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 get it right. And I would have been like, sorry. Call me Biscuit in the house. He's been here the whole way. He's super chatting now. Says, thank you, JG Tate and Drainers. Brain Drain was by far the most positive event of the last 17 months. So glad we back. Appreciate you. Biscuit, you're awesome, dude. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for always chatting with us, always being part of the show. And I hate to say it because somebody was making fun of me earlier, but you are a legend. You're a Brain Drain legend. Auburn alumni says, wonder where the mullet and Cowboys end up now. Again, that's tough, man. Because I told you when I went to high school in Tulsa, I was an Oklahoma State fan at that point. Of course, they had Thurman Thomas. He had just left. They had Barry Sanders. And Mike Gundy, who's the coach at Oklahoma State, was the quarterback at OSU at that time. And Oklahoma State is a good program, man. I mean, like, it's weird to me that, like, they just nobody seems to want any of those people, like Baylor, Oklahoma State, Kansas State. Kansas State's has a great basketball culture there. Kansas kind of sucks in general, but their basketball team's pretty good usually. Men's basketball, I should say. I've been warned, though, that the SEC might not be done expanding. I just think this is the kind of thing that just sends tremors through the force, throughout the whole system, you know? And I think everybody who's not in the SEC or, you know, not Oklahoma, Texas. So, like, I'm talking about Florida State, Clemson. Well, Florida State, Clemson. Start looking around and going, shit, are we good or are we not good? Because Clemson should be in the SEC. I mean, I'm just being real about it. That's an SEC school. If you go there and you hang out, the people act like they're in the SEC. Those are the kind of people that you would like to tailgate with if they weren't Clemson fans. I don't necessarily feel that way about Florida State, but it makes sense. And then Georgia Tech, what happens to them? I don't care about Georgia Tech, man. It's a fine school or whatever, but James C. says, according to the Google, and of course the Google knows all, it says Atlanta to Oklahoma City's 208. Look at that. Bryce Jesus. I knew this was going to come in some way, but I'm glad you were the one to do it. Bryce G says, hey, JG, what's a bus ride from Auburn to Norman? Hashtag ADAG. Hey now. All right. We got that. Call Me Biscuit says, JG Tate, take a double. You missed a Hornatius super chat earlier. God dang it. Did I really? Hornatius, I make fun of you a lot on the brain drain and stuff for being a sucky poster because you got cucked real bad, but I'm sorry if I missed your super chat earlier. I'm looking for it right now. There it is. He says, take a double shot, nerd. I would have blown you off before, but you know what? Since I missed your super chat, I apologize for that, and I'll take a double shot. I don't want to do this. It's kind of late in the night to be taking a double shot, but I missed a super chat. I deserve this. All right. That's a double shot right there. In fact, it's so big you can see it says Commodore on there, can't you? Down Commodore. Thanks, Chip. Oh, that was a big one right there. I know. Stephen Dubb in the house again, jumping in again with that handsome or attractive, whichever it is, lab. Call Me Biscuit likes to cuddle late at night and early in the morning, and that's okay. Biscuit, can you believe he's doing this to you? Chip says, who else is worth adding? UNC, Florida State, Clemson. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. I generally like to think about this from a TV market perspective. So North Carolina doesn't add shit. Because, I mean, if you're taking Clemson, you already got a good lick on Charlotte, right? I know Clemson's in South Carolina, but still. Is Charlotte really worth hitting? I don't know. Tallahassee's not a very big market. I don't think you're going to get into Opelika. Orlando. Clemson, I realize, is kind of a rural location, but they're kind of a national brand at this point, you know, with Daba. Oh, look who it is, man. This guy's an absolute legend. I can promise you that. War Eagle 0008 says, what are we drinking, War Damn Eagle? We're drinking the Blue Note tonight, bro. The Blue Note 9-year. It's technically small batch. And the reason I'm drinking this is because this is about to go extinct, at least for a period of time. They're out of juice. So if you can go find you a 9-year, go ahead and grab that because they're not going to be any more. Like 6 months from now, there won't be any of this around. And I have this plus 2 more bottles plus a some other like 12-year or something. I really like Blue Note for what it is. You can usually get these bottles when shit's not going extinct for like $50. And for me, it's delicious bourbon. I generally don't like Tennessee Swill, which is exactly what this is. This is probably Dickel, which is from Tennessee, and this is we know it's blended in Memphis. So it's all Tennessee, but I still think it's tasty. Auburn alumni says Virginia Tech. I don't see any value there. I know they may fit the culture. I understand what you're saying, but when you're talking about TV markets and shit, like they're not going to. What are they going to give you, Richmond? Alvin Tiger says Crocosile must have had a date night. I feel like Crocosile might be mad at me or something. I don't know. He got a little fussy with me. He called me lazy like 2 weeks ago. Seems like he's been better here lately, but I don't know. I think he got mad at me. Let's see, Chip says, I like that glass, JGT. It seems to hold a liquor drink well. Yeah, you would certainly know that, bro. Because you made it. Well, you etched it. You made it great. You took a regular glass and you made it great. And I'll be the only one that has an Auburn Sports logo at the bottom, though. Everybody else is numbered. Stu Pup says Virginia Tech or Virginia, you get the Washington, D.C. market. I'm not even sure. Is that a huge market? I don't know. I mean, you think it is, but I don't know. My friends that live in Washington, D.C. don't give a shit about sports. I'm looking it up on the YouTubes right now. That is technically the 6th largest Nielsen rankings area. So, you know what? That shows you why I'm not in that business. Womp, womp, womp. Assuming you'd be able to captivate it or whatever. Because I don't really think those people are sports fans. I think they're a bunch of nerds like fussing about dumb political shit. One man's opinion. Joking about Orlando. I was thinking we were going to go to Orlando, man, like last week, but we didn't end up going. The intel that I got from some people that were on the ground in Orlando said it was a mess up there. There are too many people. Lines are too long. By the way, have you guys seen Jungle Cruise? I really kind of want to see it. Just because I used to love that ride. And I love The Rock, man. He's pretty cool, man. I think I would like to hang out with him. Chip says, screw Virginia. Never, 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 ever. I completely concur with that. I was there, bro. They double dribbled. There's no doubt about it. The foul on Samir was probably a foul, even though it was kind of bullshit. But the double dribble is that's not up for debate. You either did or you didn't, and you did. AU Taxman says Virginia's not a draw for TV. You're absolutely right. It's just not. So if you're gonna steal from the ACC, you got to pilfer the tops and leave the bottoms. So that means you're taking Clemson for the national branding. And you're taking probably Florida State, even though I'm skeptical about their football program. But their basketball program's been really good lately. And they're pretty strong in other sports, too. And they have, that's a big school with a lot of alumni and, all that. But, there's some weird teams in the ACC. Wake Forest, which is a cool school. I've been there, believe it or not. It's like me and 10 other people. I would probably go to school there, honestly, but it's just a weird. I don't know how they talk their way in the ACC. That doesn't fit. Brighter Redneck Idea says Notre Dame. That's a good question. I don't think Notre Dame fits in the SEC at all. I don't think it fits culturally. I do think it fits from a TV perspective, though, because that's a national brand for all the Catholics out there. I am Catholic myself, and I don't like Notre Dame, but I'm probably a bad guy for that. However, Bring the Barn says, we'll watch Jungle Cruise for Emily Blunt. Confirmed smoke. Absolutely. Emily Blunt. There better not be anybody on this show that says Emily Blunt's gross because you're going to get slapped. I'm going to have Will Herring coming over to your house and whoop your ass. St. Louis or ST Weasel says North Carolina over Florida State. I could see that. I've been to North Carolina. When my daughter visited there, I was impressed. It was nice. I didn't think it was pretty, though. It kind of reminded me of Kentucky. And I say that as a Kentucky graduate. It's just Kentucky's kind of like concrete-y and lifeless. Well, not lifeless, but it's just there's nothing about Kentucky when you're there. You're like, wow, this place is really cool. That's how North Carolina was for me. Their football stadium's in a hole, though, kind of like West Virginia. I guess for that matter, Clemson, too. Alpha Tiger says he'll let Virginia in only if they publicly concede that they double dribbled and forfeit their natty. That would be fair. I think that's a fair concession. If you want to make the big money like the big boys, you just got to sack up and acknowledge the fact that you have a fake, fraudulent national title. I think that's fair. Pocket Watch thinks that Notre Dame and BYU would bring big money. F. Scott Fitzbeagle jumps in out of nowhere and says the love of money is the root of all evil. I'm going to give you the Michaela on that one. I mean, it might be true. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. James C. has a very minor thing. He says, add Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Notre Dame, Oregon, USC, Clemson, FSU, and call it a day. That's one day. Hey, guys. Yeah, it's Greg Sankey. Listen, you guys are kind of wondering why you were all on a conference call together, considering you guys hate each other. Yeah, Jim, I got you, bro. I know. Just calm down. Did you take the pills I sent you? Anyway, I was thinking you guys should get in the SEC. And we can all make $100 million each. How do you feel about that? Yes, you can go to Ole Miss, Jim. We'll make it so you can go on your first year. I know you want to go through the Grove. What do you mean you've already been through the Grove? Hey, Taxman says take Ohio State and Michigan and call and tell the NCAA deuces. I'm interested to see what this meeting's coming up. Some people said that the NCAA wants to have or some members have asked for like a meeting to kind of like hash some shit out. I've thought for years the NCAA is just like a house of cards, and I don't mean the Kevin Spacey kind. I just mean the actual one. And it looks like this might be it. Cass DL3 was being actually very nice with this comment. He said, the only time I went to UK was 2010 when Cam went head-to-head with Randall Cobb, both great athletes. UK campus was just okay. just okay is pretty good for UK. Again, I went to school there, and it's very concrete-y and gray. Or it was. I mean, that was 25 years ago. Hornicius, I finished that off, bro. Robert M. was correcting me a little bit on the NCAA meeting. I talked about it just a minute ago. It's a constitutional convention. That sounds very ominous, doesn't it? That's probably a good thing, though. I think I need to do some serious thinking about what the NCAA's role is and the shit that's going on. And yeah, I don't know. As James C. said, billions of dollars. It's all about that money. Cream. Cash rules everything around me, yo. Dollar bill, y'all. AU Taxman, a very prescient comment here. I think it's if I could cut this out and go back to it 2 years from now, I bet you we would say that guy knew what was up. Since the NCAA is no longer relevant with NIL, what is their purpose other than preserving amateurism when NIL kind of challenges, right? I mean, it challenges what amateurism really is. Although, to me, there's still a difference between getting paid to play and getting paid to be a celebrity, which is essentially what we're doing, right? Like the money that Bo's making from Milo's pimping their tea is like getting paid to be a celebrity, which is what he is. I get it. I'm cool with it. I love it. But he's not getting paid to play. It's not like Auburn's kicking him money, right? And I also think that like the people on the bunk are always thinking that like NIL is going to become this like war ground of like dirty money and everybody's going to be paying kids and shit. I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't. Where you go 0008 says Akon and Tate. Yo, I'm here, man. Let's see. F. Scott Fitzbeagle continues to keep it real. Says, why would consolidation work in football? Look what it's done for shopping and social media. Bring the Barn says the NCAA is meeting to decide which Auburn hoops player they're going to shaft this season. We're familiar with that story, aren't we? Is it going to be Austin Wiley? Is it going to be Danjel Purifoy? Who is it going to be? Sharif? Could it be Sharif? Could it be JP? Who knows? One of the things that really bothers me the most about the bunker, though, to be honest with you guys, is the way that we've all vilified JP. I'm telling you, man. He ain't the villain. JP's good people. And I'm really stoked about him going to Tennessee, and I hope he balls out, except when he plays Auburn. He's good people. He's good people, and I think he got misassessed, my opinion. I think the bunkers got him all wrong. You guys would love to hang out with him. You guys are nerds too. You don't recognize it, but most of y'all are. I met some of you guys in real life, and you guys are nerds. I say that as somebody who plays FIFA and Warzone. Come on now. D Lucky's in the house. Says, what up, Drain Peeps? Did we pay the phone bill yet? Uh-oh. Yeah, so D Lucky, I can't get the daggone Skype to work. Auburn alumni graciously called in earlier, and I couldn't get it to where you guys could hear him. Totally problem on my end. Through the course of the summer updates, something's gone on where Skype's not working at the moment. It's probably just me like clicking a box or something, but it's not working, and I don't like to try to troubleshoot that shit on the air, so I'm just going to let it be. I wish we could have you on the horn, though, bro, because we love having you. I was really stoked to meet you twice at the Huntsville meetups, particularly at Dob the Bomb's house because I was lit. Seriously, y'all. D Lucky, as cool as he is on the show, you guys know. Those of you who watch the show know how cool he is on the hair. Like when he calls in, he's double that cool in real life. Hornacia says soccer sissies can't judge. Who are you calling a soccer sissy? Maybe it's you. Maybe you're the treep sissy. Treep. Somebody on the bunker goes, "What's a treep?" If you've not been paying attention to this story for the last 3 years, Hornacia says, I don't want anyone on the horn. Unless it's you. I'll tell you what, man, when we get the Skype working, I want your wife to call in. We have to get some stuff straight. Ravine says, Jay's running his fingers through the hair. Are we ready to get Ole Miss drunk? Are we there yet? Nah, we probably won't get that drunk. I need to drink some more water, though. Thanks for asking. I think we got through all the stuff that I made earlier. We did the Feeling the Heat, Pushing Through, Summer Star. I know one thing I didn't put up was the headlines. We haven't gone through everything yet. Suni Lee, of course, won the gold in Tokyo in the individual all-around event at the Olympics. We talked about this in the very beginning of the show. I think she's going to be the biggest star athlete ever in Auburn history. Cam won a Heisman, and obviously Auburn has 3 Heismans. Bo Jackson was probably bigger than Cam at his peak, but Suni is going to be an international superstar. People in Thailand are going to know her. People in Greenland are going to know her. I do think that Bo, in the late 80s and early 90s, probably had a Q score that would have been even, but I don't think we're done with Suni either. I don't think this is the end of the road for her. I think she's going to be great moving forward. So she may end up being the greatest of all time, as from an Auburn perspective. I don't know. Charles Barkley at this point, to me, is the GOAT. We're talking about somebody who's, NBA all-time top 50. We've gotten our first. It's a moment to appreciate. We've gotten our first GIF from the administrative assistant telling me to shut it down. I think she believes that I may be lit. Okay, so Suni Lee won the gold in Tokyo in the individual all-around, and we'll see if she can win another gold in the individual apparatus. We'll see how that goes. Texas OU gained entry into the SEC, which is now formally a go for 2025. I continue to have people tell me that it's possible that will go in 2023. We will see. We'll just see how that goes. Damari Alston commits. He's a tailback from Woodward Academy in College Park, just a little bit south of where the planes come and go in Atlanta. Had a chance to meet Damari for the first time at Big Cat Weekend and really like him. He's going to be a great recruiter for Auburn, and I think he's a terrific player too. He's really fired up about this. He really likes. He wants to be at Auburn. He's living that life. So that's good. Sharif and JT Thor selected in the NBA draft. Second round, unfortunately for them, but they're going to have to dig their way through. But Sharif goes to the Hawks. JT ended up at Charlotte, right? And fired up for those two, obviously. Some of the people in the bunker are not, but I don't really care. Basketball wraps summer practice. We talked about this extensively earlier. They had their final practice today, and they will reconvene in August, late August, or September. Look at this guy. My man, Keith. What are you asking me, bro? Uh-oh, we got a super chat coming through. I got to go back to my page to do the super chats, yo. MWF, our main man in Oklahoma. I would be very interested to hear what he says about this. Unfortunately, our Skype's not working right now. This is JGTU to man. Thanks for all you do from the great now SEC state of Oklahoma, my main man. He's up in the northeast corner of Oklahoma. As I remember, I think he lives in, I can't remember if he lives there or if he works there in Veneta, Miami, Tahlequah, Jay, Claremore. I've been there, bro. Inola, Shoto, Pryor, Wagner. These are places I've been. In fact, I was at summer camp in Shoto, Oklahoma, and I got poison ivy so bad they sent me to the damn hospital. I didn't want to go. But I got it so bad, and I had to spend 2 nights in the hospital in Wagner, Oklahoma. Sucked. And let me tell you something. When I'm at YMCA Camp Takatoka in Shoto, Oklahoma, Route 1, Box 286, the last thing I want to do is be in a hospital in Wagner because I'm looking for chicks from Edison, from Muskogee, maybe even a Pryor girl or two. I'm just saying, maybe. Let's see. Bourbon Bowl says we need to show more video of Harsin running bleachers shirtless. I wish I'd been there for that. Let's see. James Carson, my man, had some great questions earlier. JGT predictions on AU's Power 5 games before the bye. At Penn State, at LSU, Georgia, and Arkansas. I think we went through this earlier, but I'd be glad to go through it again. I think I was on record, and I'm allowed to change my mind on this now. I got PSU as a dub, at LSU as a L, Georgia as an L, Arkansas as a dub. So I got them going 2-2 right there. You guys may disagree, which is fine. But, yeah. I'm actually interested in this. Hornatius says, the dealership has called. Now, Hornatius, let me tell you the backstory on Hornatius. So he drives a Jeep pickup, which to me is a loss right there. Like, I don't know why. Of all the cars out there, many of them hold their value well. Many of them remain operational for a long period of time. Jeeps are neither. They may be the least reliable car on the road. And my man decides not only that, but he's going to get the pickup truck version. Just give me a second. I just can't even. I can't even. But anyway, so not only that, he gets on Facebook and he thanks his wife for allowing him. I have to go back and look at it. Either thank you, sweetheart, for allowing me to get this, or thank you, sweetheart, for getting me this Jeep pickup. A fucking Jeep pickup. The guy thinks he's got it made in a fucking pickup. A Jeep pickup. It's not even a Ford F-150. And he has to thank his wife. He has to get clearance from his wife. He's the epitome of a beta. And the bunker should shit on him for this. Anyway, he says he owns 2 Jeeps. CJ8 and the Mojave. Dude, I don't know what a CJ8 is. If that's your treep, piss on your treep. And the Mojave, I don't know what the hell that is either. DeMario N says, War Eagle brother, enjoyed you on the War Report yesterday. Hey, man, appreciate you, bro. We have a partnership going with them. Love being on the show. I'd like to be on there every week, but I think they'd probably rather have me on there about once a month. But I love what they're doing. I love those guys, and I just love the way that they go about their business. So I'm glad to partner with them, and glad to be on their show, of course. Mike G in particular, who I play Warzone with. Let's see. Hornatius. No, hold on. Did I miss that? There's so many things I'm thinking about here. Ravine says his wife had to give permission to buy the Jeep pickup. Very beta-ish. Yes. It's very beta-ish. It's a very nice way to put it, Ravine. D-Luggy says, Hornatius, do they want the purse back with the treep too? Uh-oh. I know what that means. Pocket Watch with a good call there. He says, so sad J-Bell wasn't able to call in live from Fish tonight. So our friend J-Bell, Julie, who has called into the show once, I'm hoping to have her call in more often this year. She's a knowledgeable, cool chick. Her husband and his boys really wanted to go to the Fish concert, which, as I understand it, is at Oak Mountain tonight. I am not a Fish fan myself. I have tried to play Llama on Rock Band, and that's as far as I got with Fish because that song sucks. I don't understand how somebody made that and said, we made Llama, dude. It's awesome. It sounds like ass. She had to go to the show tonight, and she was not stoked about it. I hope that she had a good time. I hope she found a way. But I think everybody in the bunker was being pretty cool. Just said she would get a contact high and everything would be fine. I just cannot believe that Hornatius is out here defending himself. Girow says Tony Barbies drives a Jeep pickup. Mayor Mix-a-Lot says that's some beta junk right there. Absolutely. I think this is not even up for debate. So Love the Cat says CJ. What is a CJ8? I don't know what that is, bro. I don't live this Jeep life. I don't want my shit broken down on the side of the road all the time. CJ8 is legit. Only made $36K over 6 years. I don't even know what that is. Ravine says now a CJ8 is badass. My history teacher from high school has a Roy Rogers CJ8. What are you talking about? I'll be honest though, I drive a Hyundai, so I don't know if you guys want to judge me for that. I don't care if you do. It's fine if you do. Maybe I deserve it. I don't care. But here's one thing: I didn't have to ask my wife for permission. You know what I did? When my car got wrecked by a deer, I said I'm gonna go get a Hyundai. I didn't even ask permission. Of course I didn't. I'm a man. I do what I want. Appreciate you guys, though. If I didn't have the bunker, auburnsports.com, I would not be able to do that. So thank you guys for allowing me to have an opportunity to do that. However, with that said, I didn't ask permission because I don't need it. And I bet most of you all don't either. Joel S. says, yo, just got back from the Ron White show. What did I miss? Let's see. What did you miss, bro? Skype doesn't work. Hornatius is a cuck. Auburn's going to finish with 9 wins. I really like James Callier. Walker Kessler's a badass. Did I cover it, guys? Did I get it? Oh, hold on. My man Hornatius is sending me stuff on Facebook. I'm not showing this on the show, though. What is that? Is that a car? Is that a real thing? That looks dumber than the thing you showed me before. Oh, my word. That's embarrassing. I don't understand you Jeep people. I don't understand it. MWF, appreciate you, bro. I would love to have you call in. But the Skype's not working tonight. I don't know why. Auburn alumni called in earlier, and y'all couldn't hear them, and it's because of something that I've got wrong on my end, and I don't know how to fix it. Brighter Redneck Idea says real men drive big trucks. Dude, I get it. No, I don't disagree with that. A Treep is not a big truck. It's not. It's just crap. It's not a big truck. All right, let me see if I can post it, yo. I mean, it's such a small picture. I mean, you could have sent me like a big picture instead of this little shit, but I can do it. Is this your actual one? I'll let him answer that. All right, hold on. I took a screenshot of this, or because Hornatius is like got a big boner for us to see this dog shit car of his. Hold on. Let me put it up here. There it is, guys. Look at this beaut, huh? Aren't you guys jealous? You guys out there rolling like an Audi A7 or a Lexus SC or a Lexus LS, Hyundai Sonata like myself. You guys are like, man, I'm doing okay, but if I had a car like that, I'd be so much better off. God. AU Taxman says, don't forget the Horn wife is also a Bammer. Yep. She is indeed. It's true. Look at this. He's proud of this, guys. He's driving that car and he thinks he's an absolute boss. God. It's embarrassing. Hornatius, are you serious? It's embarrassing. Anyway, that's crazy. Let's see. Call me Biscuit. Now, this is fair. This is a fair criticism. He says, permission isn't needed for a Hyundai. Probably true. And I bought it right before the big thing where like the car prices went in the new car. Like, hey, we don't have any new cars. You're going to have to pay a lot more. Right before that. It was like 1 week before that hit. So I still feel like I got a decent car, a decent price on it. But the car's been great for me. So just saying. Of course, you're saying, hey, JG, great. The car made it 7,000 miles. Congratulations. I know. What else we got? Ravine says, nice Power Wheels photo. Get him, man. Get him. Jurhouse has had a photo op with a treep. Where's your photo, bro? Hornatius says my wife parked it. I still can't believe that. First of all, a couple things about this. He's got to ask his wife permission to buy a damn car. That car. The freaking treep. He's got to get permission for that. Let me pull it back up. He's got to get permission to buy this car. To me, this car should cost like $2,500. Like you should be able to litter your go through the couch cushions in your house and find enough money to pay for this shit. Are you serious? Look at this car. That's not even a car. It's like a. I'm not even gonna take you seriously anymore. Chip says, appreciate the compliments on my ride, JGT. I don't think I did, but I did like in real life, though. I don't think I'm going to compromise your anonymity by saying you drive a 4Runner that has like this, he's got like the matte finish on it. You know what I mean? It's like black and it's matte finish. It's really badass. This is me trying to be cool and not talk to people about your wife being hot. Because I wouldn't do that. What was that? Oh, that's from yeah, I can't post that, bro. I can't post that. I'll tell you what, I feel like this is the one. We've got to post this. I can take your names out, though. Hold on. I won't post it I won't put your names in it. Uh-oh. I'm getting a second. I just got a second notice from administrative assistant. Let me run this through the Photoshop real quick. This is the actual post that Hornatius made that I'm always ragging on him for. But I got to take his name out. I'm not going to do that. Here it is. Let me take his name out real quick. I'll even take your picture out, bro. This is embarrassing. I cannot believe you'd actually send me this. This is embarrassing. All right. Let me find the version where I took your name out. Yeah, here it is. All right. This is the Facebook post. This is the actual one where I started making fun of him. And this is with his name taken out and her name taken out and all that stuff. Look at this. Look at this idiot. Thank you, sweetie. The first new vehicle I've ever owned. It's a beaut. Brrr. Oh, look at this. Look at this car. What a nerd. I can't. I'm like Mike Tyson. It's the first new vehicle I've ever owned. What a nerd. What is this? Oh, my God. I cannot believe that. Alpha Tiger says that car of horns looks like something you try to smuggle guns into Fallujah. All right, Bazoo. Seriously, get back to work. Jay, I just left a Sooner stream. Was there one going? Some of them think Texas was their last national championship. What have we done? You just left a Sooner stream? Were you like doing like undercover work or what were you doing? Mayor Mixlot says, looks like something I made with Legos when I was 8. Look at him. Look at this guy. Thank you, sweetheart. The first new vehicle I've ever owned. It's a beaut. First of all, it's not a beaut. And second of all, you're a grown-ass man. Why have you never bought a new car? What a wuss, man. What is your problem? And you can see that shit-ass car in the background. Do y'all see that? Good golly, Miss Molly. This is unbelievable, man. Alexander says, if he wanted to waste money on a car like that, he should have just donated to our athletic program. You're telling the truth, bro. Bazoo says, yeah, I just tuned in, bro. Hey, it's just cool, man. We go long time here, bro. We love you long time. I do have my I've had my second administrative assistant tell me to wrap it up, though. That's probably not good. That probably means that I've been drinking a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, anyway. This is the actual post, though. This is when because you guys are probably like, oh, JG's probably talking smack. The guy's probably not actually driving a treep. He probably didn't ask his wife permission. Look at this. He's thanking her. He thanks her for it. Did she buy it for you? Did she actually have to go and buy it for you? Did she go, hey, are you going to go get that car? And he goes, I don't know, man. Maybe you could go get it for me? Oh, James C., great point. Who had the better week, Sooney with the gold or Braden with the $70 million deal? $40 million guaranteed. Is that not incredible? I'm so stoked for Braden. And I also want to say this. I mentioned this on the bunker the other day. So Braden's got a $72 million deal, $40 million of it guaranteed. So he's set. He's good. The dude is on Twitter posting gardening. I mean, he's the truest dude there ever's been. He's on Twitter doing videos of him gardening with the gardening shit that he does. Like, he's just he was into that as a high school guy. Like, I remember Justin Hokanson, who was with us once upon a time, was like, what's going to be the toughest thing about going to college? And he said, leaving my garden. And Justin was like, yo, what? And he was like, yeah, man, I've got this planet and this planet and this planet. And we were like, oh, shit, he's serious about this. Like, he wasn't joking. It wasn't a euphemism for something else. And here he is, like, he's a made man now. He's a $40 million man at minimum, probably more like $100 million by the time it's all finished. And he's still posting Twitter videos of him gardening and shit. The guy's just, he's not worried about what you think. And he's just into that stuff. And God bless you, Braden. What a badass. Ravine says, administrative assistant says, time to wrap it up. JG says, I do what I want. I'm like Eric Cartman now. Josh D says, what did you think about Auburn in the NBA draft? Yeah, not ideal. I mean, but the thing is, JT's really raw. So I'm not as surprised about where he went, like how late he went, I should say. And I'm a little surprised with Sharif because I know his shot's kind of broken. Like, it's just really slow and it's not very accurate. But he's got so many other things about his game that I think are great. Unfortunately, the NBA at this point is all about shooting, right? Like, it's all about positionless basketball, and let's get 40% three-point shooters everywhere, including center, or at least power forward. And that's not really, at this point, that's not Sharif's game, and it's going to take somebody to kind of come in and reset, his shot. And there's a lot of people out there who think that you can't necessarily fix shots at this point in someone's life. I don't know. I just feel like Sharif still brings you a lot, even if he can't shoot a lot. I mean, Ben Simmons can't shoot. He's pretty good. Now I realize that Ben Simmons is 6'9", and Sharif's like, I don't know what he's officially listed as. 6'1", maybe? 6. A little bit different. Anyway. Alpha Tiger says Clay Aiken just bought a treep. And listen, Alpha Tiger knows. He's very, very up on the Clay Aiken. Let's see. Brighter Redneck Idea says, be a man, JG. Tell her you'll quit and go to bed when you're good and ready. When I feel like it. Maybe I will or maybe I won't. Nah, for real, though. You guys, those of you who know me in real life know that I pretty much do what my wife says. But, I mean, I don't have to ask permission to buy a Hyundai, though. Let's see. Hornacia says, fun drain, guys. Does that mean it's over? Is it over? Ravine says, what's the likelihood we see Thor or Cooper on War Ready next summer? I'm not going to laugh at that. War Ready. Disappointing. Let's see. We've got a request from Call Me Biscuit on girls. Well, I think Hornacious calls us girls we'd like to poke. Girls we adore. I'm going to pull that up as soon as I can find it. There it is. Gals. Oh, whoa. Whoa, buddy. I got one. Oh, excuse me. How are you? Oh, hi, Jenna Lane. How are you? Oh, hi. These are girls that we looked up last summer. And I mean, like, I know we're in the summer right now, so the summer of 2020. And I don't know their name. Well, I know Jill Arrington here on the left, who's the hottest chick I ever saw in my actual own eyes. These other gals are like gals that people from the show were asking for, and we pulled that up. Jenna Lane, of course, is one that I pulled up myself. Jenna Lane covers the Buccaneers now for ESPN, and she's lovely. Very talented, obviously. Yeah, I'm kind of making a mess of that. I had a way we could go through this before, but I've kind of lost it. So I think those three right there will be fine. Yeah. I also think it's funny. What are y'all thinking about the chick in the AT&T commercials? Like, always standing behind a desk to hide her shape because she says that she faces too much grief on the internet from people like ragging on her shape. Like, I feel like we're a pretty tough group here and nobody's ever mentioned that. You guys know what I'm talking about? D Lucky says, I think we retire all the gals except Jill and create a new collection. I'm going to write that down, bro. Just wrote it down. I'm going to fix Skype, and we're going to do that. Alexander AU says she's got milkers. Colin Biscuit says administrative assistant is about to bring a charcuterie board. Yes. Yeah, Alexander, you're right. Lily from AT&T. Yeah. I know who you're talking about. She's hiding behind desks these days. I meant to tell you this. AU Taxman, thank you for bringing it up. Says, good idea, D Lucky, but we need to keep Jenna Fisher as well. I love Jenna Fisher. Administrative assistant. I don't use Instagram at all. Like, it's just not my shit. Like, that's not my demographic. Like, I don't use it. Administrative assistant does. She sends me a picture the other day, and she says, I thought you would like this. It was a picture. It was Jenna Fisher. It was something that Jenna Fisher had posted. It was like a bathing suit shot. It was lovely. How many of y'all have wives that would send you pictures like that? Say, I bet you think this chick would be hot. I love it. Josh D says, what are your expectations for Auburn this upcoming football season? Fair question. We went through this earlier, but I know you weren't here. It's cool. You can see the schedule here on the left side of the screen. I went through game by game. We talked about what I think Auburn could do. I know this sounds crazy, but you can call me maybe. I'm just kidding. I actually had Auburn winning 9 games here, and I know that's crazy. People are going to be mad. I got Auburn winning at Penn State. I got Auburn losing at LSU, losing at Georgia, and then losing against Alabama, but everything else was good. So that was a 9-3 season, essentially. And there's going to be people that disagree with that. I'm sure Georgia fans, well, I don't really care about them, but hell no, I don't want to do that. D Lucky says Jill is the only one JG met in person, though, right? That keeps her on the board. Absolutely. We're talking about girls we adore. Yes, Jill Arrington. I don't know what year that would have been, though. I was with Lori Dan and Krista. Probably around like 06, something like that, which is lovely. Mayor Mixalot says his wife does that, talking about sending him pictures of girls that, hey, don't you think this girl's cute or whatever? I mean, if you don't have a girl that does that, you need to have a girl that does that. So my suggestion is if you're married, you just kind of reprogram your girl. You say, hey, man, I wouldn't mind if you send me some pictures of the girls that are cute. I don't know. My wife would take that well. I don't know. Let's see. Call Me Biscuit says he keeps ignoring Allie tweet sweepstakes. I don't know what that means. You got to give me more detail on that, Call Me Biscuit. I know that Allie, our former intern Allie, who's great on Twitter, by the way. You guys should follow her at Allie Davison. No D in the middle. She was like, who wants to go to, I mean, this is an ill-conceived tweet, but she was like, who wants to go to Bahamas with me, yo? Because Auburn's going to play in the Battle for Atlantis next year. And apparently she got a bunch of maybe some DMs that she wasn't fired up about as much, maybe. And I think on the bunker it was kind of like, Allie, what were you expecting? And JG was like, Allie, what were you expecting? And I think Allie was even like, Allie, what were you expecting? And I wasn't surprised that was the reaction she got. Hornacia says, just slid up in Allie's DMs. Do not tell my wife. Yeah, I'm not going to. I'm afraid she would take your treat from you. War Eagle 19 says Tank Bixby for Heisman. He's got a chance. I wish his offensive line was a little bit better. That would probably improve his chances for winning that. But Alva Tiger says no D in the middle. Not yet. Pocket Watch says Allie knew what she was doing with that tweet. She good. All right. Yeah, I do think Allie's pretty cool. She's pretty aware. She's definitely not ignorant when it comes to social media, but let's see. Josh D says, any word on how Bo has improved over the offseason? And do you think he'll be the starter the entire season? I do think he'll be the starter the entire season. I'm generally more bullish on Bo than most. I like the way he's gone about this summer session and worked really hard and been very vocal, very positive leader. So I think that's great. And I think he's a good player. I do. I believe a lot in his talent. So I think that Harsin and Bobo are going to find a way to kind of unlock him. They kind of already have. I think he's going to be fine. And so I think he's going to be the starter the entire season. I think TJ's great. I think without him here, I think that would be worse for Bo because I think it's kind of inspired Bo to kind of work a little bit harder, which is good. Yeah, I think it'll be the start of the whole year. Hornacious is Ronakoff. Sorry, guys. Hey, JG. Somebody told me you were on your show and you were coughing. I'm praying for you, buddy. James Cease is over-under on Bo's completion percentage at 62. Down. I'm going to go under on that one. He hadn't shown a great percentage yet. Call me Biscuits. It's 2 a.m. B. Just take a shot, JGT. No, bro. I know my limits. Usually, I'm able to just keep drinking and let Skype do the rest. But since I don't have Skype tonight, I gotta stay a little bit sober. So no more double shots. I know my limits. Pocket Watch is fired up to hear the Jay Jacobs voice. I'm gonna tell you something, Pocket Watch. Listen, I know Auburn. I played at Auburn. I worked as a coach. I was AD at Auburn. I know Auburn people when I see them. And you're an Auburn man. Just go out there and be great, okay? That's how we get better as Auburn, okay? And we're going to be the preeminent athletic association in Mall of America. All right. Call Me Biscuit is now asking for a Gus impersonation. Well, there's no doubt. I mean, here's the thing. I'll be able to work you into my schedule, JG, but I mean, there's no saying that if Christy can do that. I mean, I don't know if she can or she can't. I mean, she was just doing the night. They just did like the girls' night, and they did a play on the night thing. I forget what it was though. Damn. Well, that's pretty big. I mean, that's pretty good. You got Brian. He's gonna be good. Thanks, Gus. Appreciate you. Alexander AU says, does Harsin have any eligibility left? If Bo and TJ go down, can we have a player-coach situation? Dude is absolutely fit. He might be the fittest coach in all of college football. Ravine says, JG seems to be in midseason form. Hasn't missed a beat. Much like the 2010 defense, master of the halftime adjustment. Brighter Redneck Ideas has been with us a bunch tonight. Appreciate you, bro. Would you want to wear the number 19 in the COVID era? Yo, who are some famous 19s in Auburn lore? Monte Pitts is the only one that jumps out to me. Josh D, who's keeping Ed D he's got some competition with Josh D, because Ed D usually asks us to the on topic questions. It's Josh tonight. Do you think our offensive line will be any better than they have the last couple seasons? My guess is that they're slightly better. Not incredibly better. That's what I'm seeing. Alpha Tiger says probably Tate's worst Gus impersonation. All right. Okay. Okay, here's the thing. Maybe I'm not going to send you your dang drink, Alpha. Nah, for real, yo. Brad, my man, this is Easterwood from the bunker. Says, take a shot and renounce Hornatius. Seriously, I can't renounce him more than I already have. But, I mean, if you want me to take a shot, I mean, I kind of have to. I've already renounced Hornatius. You guys know I love him, but he is hilariously misguided, right? He's good people. He's good people. I know him. I've met him. I met his wife too. He did a good job. He's done good work. But my goodness, he's a cuck. All right. I think we're going to wrap it up there, yo. We started, I made it 3 hours without Skype, which is a record. That's pretty good. We drank, what did we drink here? About a third of this bottle. It's not bad for not having had dinner, really. Oh, my goodness. Call Me Biscuit jumping in with a super chat here late. Says, strong show tonight and had to improvise on the fly due to no calls. Super chat, you got to take a shot. Hell, you made my guy get off the wagon last night. You talking about Justin O. My man, Justin O. He wasn't technically off the wagon. He was, but he was on the wagon. But He had, well, I don't want to tell his story. That's his job. He wasn't able to drink for reasons that he can tell you if he wants to tell you. So he hadn't been drinking like the last 3 or 4 months due to doctor's orders. And then I think last night was the first chance. It had been 3 months or 4 months or whatever, and he was able to drink. So I brought him whatever he wanted. I don't want to do this, Biscuit. I don't want to drink this. I'm not in position to drink this, but I'm going to drink it anyway because you asked. And I appreciate you, bro. Not only because you're a great super chatter, but you're a great chatter. You're a great bunk. I appreciate you, brother. I'm going to regret that shot. Ravine says, great show, JG. Appreciate you, bro. He says, it feels so great to be back with family. All right, I guess we'll wrap it up there, yo. Appreciate you guys. We definitely have to go back and go through this, our super chatters. You know we love our super chatters. Wait, what? Is it giving me more trouble with the super chatters tonight? My goodness gracious. I think it's giving me trouble on the super chatters. Dadgummit. All right, so what I did last week was I gave you guys shout outs on the rundown. I'm gonna do that again this week because I can't get the full list of the super chatters, but I appreciate you guys. You know I love you guys, and I will shout you guys out on the rundown. So I appreciate you guys. Common Biscuit says, drink lots of water tonight, old man. You have a big one tomorrow night. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here comes AA. Nope, she's watching Real Housewives of Dubuque. I haven't had as much water as I should have, Biscuit, so thank you, bro. Thank you for the reminder. Hornatius is amateur. You son of a gun. What are you doing? All right, James C. has one last question. Does Gus make a playoff over the rest of his coaching career? I'm going to say no. Josh D says, who do you think will make it to the 12-team playoffs first? Harsin at Auburn or Gustav at UCF? Harsin. I think it's going to be Harsin. Again, 12 is not that hard to make. It's going to be 2 years, but whatever. Chip says, no pug, no cat. 9.5 out of 10. Sammy! Here's how I get the cat to go. Sammy. Yeah, no animals tonight. Sorry, guys. I can't give you Wednesday Adams, though. I got Wednesday and Pugsley, to be fair. These are my my wife likes to go to these I don't know what you call them. Flea markets or whatever. And I'm not really into flea markets myself, but I'll go with her sometimes because I really like her. And I found those at a flea market. Pretty fired up about that. I wish they had bourbon at flea markets, but I don't think they do. I never see it there. Hornatius says Jay is Pugly.
We're not even talking about the game, the actual game, when it matters.
That's not very nice. Maybe you should start worrying about yourself, bro. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate you guys. Super chatters, you know I love you. You know I love you. Fist bump right there. And I will check you guys out. Let's see. We'll talk about it on the rundown because I'll be shouting you guys out on the rundown. Also on the bunker, you know I'm there 24/7 pretty much. So I'll see you guys then. Seriously, drink responsibly if you're out there doing your thing. I mean, I'm not trying to judge you, but be sure to stay hydrated. That's the key to not having a bad hangover is stay hydrated, okay, guys? Seriously, do that. I'm serious. Hear me now, listen to me later, but you got to stay hydrated, okay? Appreciate you guys. Keep it real. Love you guys. Until we see you next time, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Peace.